Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Phil's Recap and Review, Better Call Saul, Season 4, Episode 9 of Wiedersehen. It's the recap breakdown, and I am a guy that is humbled by my own stupidity, somewhat like that. It is an absolute great episode of Better Call Saul. I'm excited to be here to talk about this and break this down as we lead into the season finale. A lot of shit happening. We had the amazing case of the disappearing German. We had Jimmy and Kim spreading further and further apart. It's the death knell of the relationship, and it keeps going up and down, which I like because it's like life. It's not as simple as, oh, everything's great, everything's going to shit. At one moment something can be great, the next moment things can be a shit. Werner has panic attacks, and we also got to follow the adventures of the Salamancas and re-meeting the new version of Hector Salamanca and seeing his family, seeing Lalo, who, if you didn't know, was also in Breaking Bad. Now, in the episode in Season 2, when Saul Goodman is kidnapped by Walter White and Jesse Pinkman, taken to the desert, Saul assumes it was Lalo that abducted him, and he starts begging for his life, blaming Ignacio, or Nacho, for what happening, swearing he'll always be friends with the cartel. After realizing Walter and Jesse's confusion, he understands he's mistaken them from Lalo in size and relief. So we have heard this name on Breaking Bad before. We're finally meeting the character and interacting with him again. I believe he might show up in Season 4 too. I'm not sure, but that's what I do remember him from. But I'm not alone. Of course we're not alone. We got the live motherfucking chat, and I love waking Joe up, keeping Joe up past his bedtime. We've got
way past my bedtime.
We got Joe Dirty
Like
Locks.
An hour nap on the couch today.
Well, it's good to see you, and hopefully this episode kept you awake this time, and you got to watch the episode.
I didn't. When it started, I was still like half asleep on the couch. I almost made it like awake through. I shouldn't have laid down, but
it was.
But I didn't fall asleep during the episode. So
it was interesting because there were so many moments in this episode, Joe, where I thought it was going to get. We were going to get a big explosion or something where it was going to happen when Varner was down in the pit, messing around with all the bombs and stuff. I mean, I think at least I thought in that moment, I was like, oh, he's going to blow up here. He's going to die here or something. But
I never once thought there was going to be any action or. Like I thought what we saw was, yeah, no, I didn't expect anything more or less from the show.
No, I just mean in that moment, I expected him to set off the dynamite for a second. I got this trigger feeling just in the pit of my something television spider sense. I was like, oh, he's gonna die here. Something's happening with this guy in this episode, and it ended up being that he's escaped and basically. He's dead. He's a dead man next week's episode. Or do you think that he makes it out of this whole situation alive now, or does Mike find him?
The only chance he gets to make it out alive is Mike actually finding him and bringing him back.
Right. Other than that, if he's gonna hope Mike finds him before Gus finds out about all of this.
Correct. I think so. But then again, I may just have maybe he's just dead now,
Joe. And I guess that's
because I guess Mike knows that all like who he's working with and what's going on. He couldn't tell any of that to the old guy, so it comes down to Mike knew. Mike did the best he could to keep these people safe. And
it's not, and everything with Kai ended up being kind of like a good soldier with him. And you kind of knew that was going to happen. It was to throw you off, and Varner was going to kind of go in the other direction because he's too smart. He's smart enough to watch and keep track of what Mike's doing to be able to work around it a little bit and figure out an alternate to the camera to get the thing to short circuit the camera to get Johnny Five's alive. No, to give him the opportunity to escape from that situation. And I think what this show does so well, for me anyways, is, and I guess that's what I'm trying to describe in that moment. I knew what I thought was going to happen wasn't going to happen. It's like they're playing this really complicated game of poker. And basic poker thing, Joe and I talk about this sometimes, but a one rule of like reading tells, when people don't know what they're doing in poker, they act strong when they're weak, they act weak when they're strong. But when you get to the weird level, it's when the people you're playing against know that, so are they faking that in that moment? So you think, and that's just a basic thing. And I think with Better Call Saul, there's an element of that. it's what I think anyways, and in the moment when I'm projecting what hours of shitty television have done to my projection of what could happen on a show, and I'm sitting there thinking, I know what's going to happen in this situation because this is what happens on X show, Y show, and they go, we know that, and we're bending shit. We're giving you something you've never really seen before.
Some TV shows
can't do that. They're taking their time in a way to give us, and I agree with what Blowfish said there. This is one of the best episodes in the series. I think so many episodes this season, you could say it's one of the best episodes in both series. They talk a lot on the Better Call Saul Insiders podcast, ding, that's the time, my pub for that for the day, about how this is a different show. They didn't really take the time in the same way they did with Breaking Bad because they were keeping to the narrative. And that's not better or worse. I'm just saying different. They do a different thing in this show. For some people, it might not be for others. But what they're setting out to do, this character exploration, this deep shit that you only see in big, long theater shows, really. The time that they take and the way that they focus, or movies, the art house movies at times, the way they're shooting some of the shots where you see people's head over the couch through the whole scene, or you can see multiple things in every action. It just adds so much freaking delight. And I'm not used to it yet because so many other shows don't do this, Joe.
True.
It's
because of what they do, you can't do what you were saying with this show. You can't do it with like most seasons of Game of Thrones if you didn't read the books. You know, there's some television out there.
Yeah, and I don't want
you don't see coming, and this is one of those shows.
Yeah, and I don't want to make it seem like it's mutual exclusive to Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad. Other shows do it well. You're right. Game of Thrones, if you didn't know where it was coming from just from a television standpoint, I would say a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, The Walking Dead flirted with that as well. Just flirted with it. You know, we can rewind.
They fell right into like catch TV as far as I'm concerned, but it was still entertaining enough. Due to subject matter, you know what I mean?
Right,
like, they fell into it pretty early on.
To keep you into the edge of your seats a little while and kind of go in a direction you're not necessarily expecting.
Right.
But let's go into the live motherfucking chat here. Best episode of the series, Blowfish. DJ Better. Hey, I'll just finish the episode. Wow, I had some tense moments. I loved DJ Better sent me a review of last night's Fear the Walking Dead episode. Something along the lines. I don't have the exact words in front of me. That was stupid or something. It was a 3-word review. Stupid. That was stupid. Yeah, I thought the same says iconic. Worf. Yes, Worf is back in the house. I decided to bring at least the wheel and the Deep Space Nine thing back in until I move because I no longer have to show the house to anybody now that it's officially sold. I wish I watched this show so I could... I wish Peter Griffin in the live chat. I wish I watched the show so I could watch your stream, Phil. I can't get over Saul is 10 years older after Breaking Bad, yet playing someone 10 years younger. And he plays that so well. They add with makeup, with hair, the way they adjust his hair and this balding level. It's little subtle things. The way he dresses has a big difference to it as well. He's dressing. The way Saul looked was a little bit more weathered later in Breaking Bad and going through all of that. The way they dress him down for Jimmy. And I also like how we're seeing a few more Mr. Show moments with him doing character voices from Mr. Show. And in the Better Call Saul Insiders podcast, they talked about how last week when he did that voice of the congressman, they asked him to do, basically they didn't ask him, but they were all secretly hoping that he'd do one of his characters from Mr. Show. And he did. I forget the character's name, but it was Jimmy doing a version of Bob Odenkirk doing a character from Mr. Show. So I like how they're bringing more of Jimmy's comedy or more of Odenkirk's comedy into this season, a lot more than the previous seasons. And it's working because he's bridging that gap to become more Saul Goodman or more like that. Hello, Worf. Yes, the Klingon friend is back. Hello, Steph Snow. I missed you as well. Great to see you in the live chat. Oh, no, I think Mike is going to find him and kill him, even though he doesn't want to. It's going to change him. And I agree. It's going to be a hard kill for him, and it's going to be a difficult situation, but he knows he's going to have to do it because this guy had all the chances in the world.
No. I don't think Mike's going to do it.
Do it, Joe. Tell us why.
I think he brings him back, reports to Gus, and Gus has people do it who do that sort of thing.
Right. Okay. He has his.
You don't have Mike do it because you don't need to have Mike do that. So you don't have Mike do that. You don't put Mike in that situation. You keep Mike as clean as you can keep Mike. right?
Maybe. I don't know. I think Mike is one of those people that this was on his watch, so he's going to want to handle the situation himself. This is my problem. This is my problem, Gus. I'll handle it my way. And he'll end up handling it his way, I think, anyways. Steph Snow says, I don't watch Better Call Saul, but I want to say hi.
Yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. And then Gus finishes the handling the right way.
That's what I think. I personally think the fate of all Germans on this show is death from Gus. I don't think Gus is letting anyone walk out of this situation alive, except for or any of the people that aren't on his team. But that's just my impression of this whole time, that he's going to do a Magar Targaryen where he kills the people that helped him build the Red Keep, so no one knows the secrets but him. I tended to think
but that's why you used the German outfit to begin with.
Right, so it's outsourced, so you never have any contact.
They might not even know what state they're in. You know, they were picked up in fucking Texas and driven to Arizona. They were picked up in fucking Florida or some shit.
The only thing they can go by is the call girls. That's the and they might have brought them to California to that strip club. Who knows where they actually brought them? So I'm happy Worf's back. Steph Snow, I'm happy you're back, even though you don't watch Better Call Saul, just to say hi. Here's a little bit of an announcement coming up. The next week, Joe will not be with me on the Better Call Saul finale podcast, but he will be with me the night before. He's lucky. He said I can only do one, so I want to do The Walking Dead. So Joe will be here on Sunday to do The Walking Dead premiere with me. You're not? You're working on Sunday now?
It's a fucking holiday shift.
Oh, so
I didn't sign up for it. It's just, it happens to be my holiday shift. I didn't know until the schedule came out like 2 days ago.
Okay, so Joe asked to work so he wouldn't have to be here for the Walking Dead premiere.
No, I did not.
So Joe won't. So I take back the announcement. Joe won't be with us at all next week.
Because it's a finale and a premiere and back to back. I got to work both days. It's supposed to be my weekend off. So actually, I'm working Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So
okay, so
no, I did not.
So no good news. Forget everything I just said. Screw that.
Good news. All fucking shit news.
Screw that shit. Okay, so let's go into the live chats. But I will have the live motherfucking chat here, and we'll try to get Joe to call in on Walking Dead night.
I will be watching.
At least to rant.
Watching the premiere, and
people are gonna need a rant that opening night, Joe. So we'll figure something out. So let's go back to talking about something good here.
Something out.
Yeah, we'll go back to talking some. We'll talk more about that off the air. So Bliss is nice. I'm watching. Joe is live, so I'm watching fucking live. Hey Jay, great to see you. We got Bernie the Burnt in the live chat. Negan sucks balls. Oh my god, Neganisms is starting this week. I totally forgot about that. I so want Rick just to jump in the helicopter. Okay, we'll talk about that soon. No way that mini hacksaw blade cut a master lock in a few hours. That's my takeaway from tonight. That must have been a long process that he was going for. The Blowfish says, I love the change for $1 skit from Mr. Show. Yeah, great stuff. Just saying howdy from Miss Empress. Great to see Miss Empress in the live chat tonight. But Mike does become a hitman. He does, and he does take care of business like that. So I think I tend to disagree with Joe on this one. I think Mike does end up going to the dark side, so to speak here. Bring on the criminals. I think if Mike doesn't handle it himself, Gus wouldn't trust him as much as he eventually does. I added the word eventually, but that's almost exactly how I think they're Blowfish. Blowfish is blowing.
Who does Mike kill?
I think Mike kills Varner. Oh, later on in Breaking Bad, he just serves as Gus's number one with all points, and so we know that Mike.
Hitman, who does he kill?
Who do we actually see Mike kill on Breaking Bad? It's been a while since I saw.
He tries to kill Walt, right?
He would have killed Walt if he had.
Like he shoots at him in the lab, doesn't he?
I honestly, people in the live chat tell me I don't want to embarrass myself. Right now, I'm so deep in Better Call Saul, it's hard for me to remember specific elements about Breaking Bad. We can look that up relatively easy, and I'll trust the live motherfucking chat to throw me some information like that. If Joe feels anything like me, I bet he's wanting to get on the helicopter and leave The Walking Dead. Yeah, he's asking to work, so he doesn't have to be here for the premiere. I kind of want Kai to live. I think Kai might live as well if someone said what Germans might live. So will there be does Joe think next week? Yes, at the end of the week we'll get Joe on. I miss you guys, and And I miss you all, and I don't watch that. What's up? We got the Madman Marts in there. We got Joseph. He's Shawshank Redemption there, and he worked on it for 8 nights, and he put a poster of a hot chick up there. He kills a bunch of people when he he shoots the Asian dude in the head, and he also takes out a bunch of the cartel guys. Absolutely, yes, he does. Now that you say that, I absolutely remember that. Mike does get into Gus's war and does kill a bunch of people. Mike killed a bunch of people. There's a YouTube mashup of all his kills. He shoots a bunch of no-names. So he shoots a bunch of red shirt guys. He kills the guy who hijacked the truck. So yeah, Mike does eventually become documented evidence here from the live chat, because I trust that as much as watching it myself right now, that Mike does eventually become a killer. Joe, do you wish to change your stance about how he handles the German situation, or do you still think we get more of that between this season and next season, and Mike tries to let this guy go, and Gus teaches him a little lesson, like slaps him on the wrist and goes, "No, Michael, this is how you handle a situation."
No, Michael kill him then.
Yep. Joe's down for kill. MDK, murder, death, kill. I mean, really, a show should only get 3 seasons. After that, it's over. So let's not waste any more time, Joe. Let's just get into this shit. Enough. Quit our barking and start our fucking sparking, and let's get to the motherfucking recap. So
there you go.
Now I was gonna push the button. See, I can never click it when it's supposed to go, but now let's do it right now. Recap. Okay, enough of that. This episode's too fucking thick. It's too fucking layered. It's too fucking awesome for me to waste any time with jumping up and down like a fool. I just need to get back into this. But, of course, I have to jump around like a fool for a second. Every time I hear that music, it's like a Pavlovian dog response. Can't help myself. So we open up on Kim's ponytail as she's walking in, and she's heading into Lubbock, Texas, as she's on a scam. Her eyes are like a drug addict. She's obsessed. She's really in on this scam hardcore. So let's listen to a little bit of Kim.
Oh, I really hope so.
What can I do for you?
My firm submitted plans for Mesa Verde Bank. We're building a branch here in Lubbock.
Oh, sure. I think I saw that come through.
As I was cleaning up, refiling all our plans, internally I realized I was missing one of the old versions.
Okay, there's a lot to this, and I'm not going to play every single second of this particular con here, because it's a lot of subterfuge, a lot of fun, a lot of good business between the two. I like watching Kim be in on the scheme. She's really feeling it, and she's really kind of getting off on the whole situation. And looking at it, and this poor woman, I kind of feel bad for this poor woman through this whole situation, that she's responsible when she gets conned here. But is the juice worth the squeeze on this one? It's for, what does it end up being, for 15 extra?
13% bigger building.
Right.
But my question is was this because she fucked something up somehow?
Or was she just doing this for sport?
Like, does Mesa Verde know that
right.
They're getting a bigger building?
I don't know. Did she
a smaller building?
Did she run this by? I don't think so. I get the feeling, because they don't explore it too much, I get the feeling that she did this on her own and sort of just slipped it in. It's a little, hey, building's going to be 50% bigger.
Did we get any planning of this or talking about it? I don't remember.
No, just last week at the end of the episode when she said, I have a plan, let's do more. Let's screw people over more. And then in this episode, she kind of turns it around on Jimmy a little bit and goes back at him about Huel, like, I did that for you, but you liked it, and you came back and said, let's do more. But she wants to do it in this situation for her work to benefit her company. At first, what I thought she was doing was screwing it up so Mesa Verde gets fucked over and can't work so she can do less work and still get paid. I thought she was kind of doing some sort of scam to be lazy so she could do more pro bono cases. But it seemed like she was just doing it to do it. And I don't know if people in the live chat or anyone that's listening, you can call in at 781-990-8509. Let me know what you guys think about this Kim situation, what exactly she was trying to do. Was she just trying to do it for sport and fun? Was there any real merit to it?
A 13% is incredibly large. Like that's like, think about some of the buildings that they build around here. If they were 13% bigger footprint, they wouldn't fit in the plots that they're put.
So excellent point by Joseph in the live chat, and Joe agreeing with Joseph there. So then she had to have told them, Or is she just hoping this all comes in under the radar and is going to smirk about it and go, oh, it was a screw up in the oversight and blame it on the other company so they have to pay for it or something? Or I'm not
just to get them screwed out of building more building. Like
I'm just curious of what
she
her
doesn't like Mesa Verde.
I mean, we'll listen to her talk to Jimmy here in a bit so we can try to piece this together a little bit. And I'm really curious to hear how she explains it again when they get into a little exchange. I will play all of that. But let's continue in this scene a little. Let's go in the live chat. Paul Q, hey, I didn't see the episode yet. Just saying hi. We get Lindsay C. Iconic says clerk from Leftovers. Oh wait, it's Mesa Verde thing. Was it the 13%? Yup, the 13%. 13%.
We had some late changes to the conference room dimensions, so there were different versions.
Oh, I'll come around to you.
Oh, good, thanks.
And she plays into it. For some reason, she decides to go in there with a limp. I guess that's probably a Jimmy thing that said go in there with a distraction. So the person's automatically off balance and feeling bad for you. So you go in there limping. So she's.
I missed that from last week, Bliss. Sorry, Phil.
Oh no, it's okay. I thought they wanted a different building, but last week she said it would be too difficult. This week Kim was changing her mind, so Mesa Verde could get the building they want. Okay, so that's what happened, Bliss. I was going to ask about that when she said to the guy, "No, we can't do that." So I now. Thank you, Bliss. Bliss figured it out, or not that it was something to figure out. Bliss allowed me being an idiot to figure it out. That ultimately she's doing this so she can be Scotty. So she can come back to Captain Jim and go, I'm a medical worker. I put it together. I got the building code approved. So, but still, it's scammy, and I guess maybe she's just going to pretend to not show her work really and just say, well, I got it done. But I don't know. Good point there. Although it's not clear, I think they'll explain it more next week. Definitely watch Ozark season 1 and 2. Yeah, lots of Ozark love this season in the Better Call Saul recaps here. And to answer your question, Joe, yes, Joe has watched Ozark, loves it, and we will eventually talk about it. And or we have mentioned it a lot. There's some drunk rant at the end of one of our podcasts where we talk about it, and we'll find an opinion to watch or find an opportunity to talk about it again as well. We're going to be doing something cool in October that I got to talk to Joe about off air, but we'll have plenty of extra time in that during that. Okay, so let me continue. So we come back in. She's checking the plan. So far, everything is good. She asks about the foot and some fake ass shit. So here comes. She also mentions that she has a kid, an 8-month-old kid that she's having take care of by her brother, and sets up that her brother is a piece of shit or an idiot. And here comes the brother Jimmy, and this is what I mean, and what I was saying to Joe earlier about the clothes, and where Odenkirk's playing more of a comedic character, and I love this shit.
Hey, lady. He's fine, but he's very hungry.
Bill.
And he's like
Bill.
a little eating machine.
Bill.
Could you sniff this for me?
Where's Aiden?
He's fine. He's in the Wrangler. Just take a smell because it's a little funky.
You left my child in your Jeep?
Yeah, I cracked the window. Just what?
Jason Voorhees says the adventures of Kim and Jimmy lasted as long as the sharpness on my machete in any movie.
Give me the keys. I'm not going to check it.
Where are you going?
To get Aiden, because you can't leave a baby in a car. What the hell is wrong with you?
Oh, man. What?
Go get the baby,
What did I
Bill.
do?
Help
Well, it's
her.
only been a minute. I didn't know. Sorry.
Bob Odenkirk is so good in this role. It's just ridiculous how well he changes gears, how well he's able to do. Like when he's playing these, when they have him play these little cons, and like this one, like the hearing later, like he gets
the hearing later. I can't wait to talk about that.
The focus he gets on the character he's playing, right? And even in the hearing, even though he's trying to play himself, it's fantastic. Like you can see the subtle details, the subtle differences in all of it, and it's all so the same.
Yeah, and
it's wonderful.
It's almost like there's a lot of actors or comedians or whatever that you almost think that it's weird, and this is where we get into something that's I don't know. I'm not going to say it's anything beyond just luck or whatever.
It's credit to writing too.
It's a credit to writing, credit to the whole production design. But I mean with Odenkirk that every one of his talents fits perfectly, and it's. I think that's a credit to writing. They write to his talents. They know when to just let him go off and be
right. They
and
knew
be
what
Bob.
they had. They knew they already had so they had the character from Breaking Bad, right? So they got to write this. They had the character, and they also had the actor playing the character in mind. So they got to write it for him.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. And they were hoping he could do this, and they wanted him to do this, and they knew how much he wanted this, and they believed in him. And they just kept giving the material. Michael McKean definitely being there, I think, upped his game at the beginning and allowed him to go. This is Bob Odenkirk talking about this. Having Bryan Cranston there during Breaking Bad, and him, those two being close and building it up and learning a lot from Cranston and seeing his transformation, all influenced Bob Odenkirk. And Bob Odenkirk just has this urge to be better, and he just kills it in this role. And this is his ultimate prize, getting to play this part, because he plays every part that's great about Bob Odenkirk. Every character you've seen him play on How I Met Your Mother, on so many other sitcoms when he's popped, Arrested Development. I mean, it could go on. I could sit here and name 50 sitcoms where he plays a reoccurring character where he pops up. I'm not going to do that. Saul Goodman on Breaking Bad.
Burgers.
Just everything. I mean, literally, Mr. Show, and this takes all of that, combines it into one, and uses all of his talents for the best that we can get out of Bob Odenkirk. Not the best we can get out of Bob Odenkirk. Yeah, we're going to use him up, every inch of him, for our entertainment. But no, he loves it. In what Blowfish said, even though we do on this show believe that all those award shows are a pile of horseshit. I like watching them. Joe doesn't, but we both think that they're a pile of horseshit. Bob Odenkirk for this episode should be the one that's nominated. We're going to get to it at the end because I don't want to talk too much about it now because I really want to break down that scene. But the end of this episode, all of Odenkirk's acting from once he loses the scene, once he loses his appeal, or not his appeal, loses the hearing, him freaking out from that point on in the end of the episode, when he just snaps into it and it's no more holding back. It's just the pure, that's the Saul Goodman gear.
Yeah, he goes right to burn it all down. He goes to burn the one stable thing. Like,
crazy.
I'm not getting my license back, so I might as well start this fight and lose it all.
Yep, and I've been that person where you're saying this shit out of your mouth and you're just you're burning it all, and you're thinking while it's going on, what's happening? And he played both emotions while he was saying, and his eyes. It was just chilling and real, like really fucking real, dude. And I just think that deserves some consideration with the awards, because it would mean shit to him. Fuck what it really means. It would mean shit to him to get an award like that, and I think he deserves it. It reminded me a lot of Tyrion in that episode in season 4 when he's just like, I should have let you all burn, you motherfuckers. And I'm not going to talk about the specifics of what was happening for no spoilers, but it reminded me of that moment when someone just breaks and it's no more pretense. You want to hear the real fucking way I think right now? Bam, here you fucking go. And I loved it. And it's a big build up through this episode. And
it's more than just that, though, because the things that he's saying they're malicious. He's picking a fight.
Yeah,
she's trying to calm him down, and he's attacking both the panel that he just talked to.
Joe, no, I'm not attacking a panel. What the fuck are you talking about, panel? Go fuck yourself, panel. You're an idiot. You're talking about panel. It's just anything. Like, he's picking something. He's finding a spot, and he's attacking. Yep. Sorry, I didn't mean to start a fight with you.
No. Yeah. No, that's exactly what he's trying to do. Like, it can't be his fault right now.
Yep. I 100%. And I love how he just doesn't. I mean, we're getting a little ahead of the game, but I love how he just doesn't compute about the Chuck thing. It just
he didn't have to go in there and run a con.
Nope.
He didn't have to go in there and run a con.
Okay,
that's the point.
That's a different question, Joe. Do you think that he was running a con on the last question? I think he was running a con the whole time, but I think there was some element. I believe him at the end when he's saying to Kim.
A con always has some element. No, he wasn't running a con the whole time. I mean, he's been running a con for a year, right? He's working at the cell phone store, and he's getting that award, but he's doing it shady, right? And but he's not running a con to them. Look, I kept my job. There's the letter. I got this other letter. I got all your references. I kept my nose clean. I did everything you guys told me to do. But then when it comes to it and they ask him the personal questions, the what do you think questions, the how do you feel questions,
how do you feel?
That's where he starts running his con, and he doesn't need to. He is Jimmy McGill, the man that's been in trouble. Like, they know what you're in trouble for. They see in all these records why your license has been suspended, why everything that's what you pled guilty to, who it was involving. And like even Kim says it, like, what did they say when you said talked about your brother? Why would I mention Chuck?
Beep, beep,
what does
beep,
he have to do with
does
it?
not
Like,
compute.
It's all a con. Like, he didn't have to go in there. He should have just went in there and been himself.
Right, and had the
so
information.
one time he didn't need a con, and he fucking tried to con a fucking room full of con men. They're all fucking lawyers, idiot.
Would he have passed it if he answered that last question with Chuck?
Yes.
I agree too. I think the con would have worked if he had just been smart enough and empathetic of how they might feel about Chuck. To mention Chuck, he just couldn't do it. He was so on script of his con and so locked in on that moment.
Something to do with the board?
They all know Chuck. I don't know.
Everybody knows Chuck.
Everyone knows Chuck. They all look at Chuck as like an icon.
Crazy.
I'm sorry. He's
right. Exactly.
He's an icon.
So like, of course,
Jimmy no con.
To a couple of people that knew him personally that really liked him or had like mentor moments from him, learning moments from him. You know?
Yeah, the woman that was talking, the one that really got upset about it, she might have been a major colleague of Chuck for how she just wanted to hear his name, or they just might. Or they knew the story like Kim said, or it's as simple as what Kim said. They knew the story and they needed to show that he had some contrition, that he did something wrong there, or he's thinking about his brother, or yada yada the fucking something. Jimmy, you're too smart of a con person to go in there and
say was my brother
and to not think even for a second that they would want to hear about Chuck. It's really a big time oversight. Let's go.
Yeah, he should have that very last question. He only needed 2 fucking words. My brother.
Yep, exactly.
That's it.
Of course.
That would have sufficed. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Quick look. Of course, my brother. Simple as that. Simple as that. Done. You win. You win.
Like, he should have been smart enough to know that. He didn't have to say anything else.
Yeah.
He should have you should have used his brother. If he was playing a con, he's still that mad at his brother, he should have used his brother.
He can't, because if he goes there, we got to see how he really feels when he's attacking Kim. And we'll get to that at the end of the episode, where he's basically saying things to Kim like she is Chuck. The way she's judging him with her eyes and blang, bang, bang. That's all that shit coming out that he's been holding inside. The reason why he can't mention Chuck. Because
he's been doing shady shit the whole time.
And because he also feels like, yeah, I'm glad he's dead and I hope he burns in hell. And he can't say that, or he can't admit that to himself, but really what he's feeling is I'm not sorry the motherfucker's dead. I'm glad and I hope he burns in hell. This is what I think is what Jimmy's really thinking, and he can't cope with that feeling and doesn't want other people, because he's embarrassed by that feeling to a certain extent. But that's just my little weird thing. Let's get into the live chat a little bit here before we move on. Kim has larceny in her heart, but Jimmy has some demigod of larceny, plus he has bad luck. He can't help but going that far. I think K-Rich, as always, brings up a very interesting point that is a factor in conning and gambling. No matter how good you are in shit, there's a luck factor, and Jimmy has bad luck. He's unlucky. And anyone who tries to think that in that game or in whatever game you're playing there isn't an element of luck is lying to themselves. I know you make your own luck, but Jimmy has bad luck.
Luck is all just percentages. Percentages are just that.
Jimmy,
they work out good and they work out bad. They happen to fall in the bad for him.
Jimmy hedges his bets and makes sure that they work out worse than they were. He makes sure his bets go bad. You know, drunk at the end of the night when you start pushing your money.
He bets red and black and it comes up green.
Yeah, exactly, Joe. And I agree that Kim deserves some awards recognition. The whole show does at this point. Hello, we got Lady Laura Dane in the live chat. Great to see all of you guys in the chat talking tonight. Good to see all of you guys. She definitely deserves an Emmy next year. She was incredible in this episode. That scene when he comes back into, we'll talk about it in a little bit, the scene when he comes back into the house after they fought and she's just sitting there drinking a beer. All that nonverbal communication is so tough to do, and so many shows don't do it. They tell you with exposition over and over again.
I'm the guy with nothing to lose. Well, if you were, you didn't have to say it.
Right. Jimmy, why are you in the other room not talking to me? No, they didn't need to say any of that. She said it all in her eyes. Everything that needed to be said was in her body language, her eyes, and the way they set up the shot where they had the split, and you saw them both in two separate areas, as now they've ultimately split on some level, but she still wants to bring them closer. She's inching closer and closer to him. It was so gave me the shivers. That gave me the ooh as she was inching closer, standing behind him like, no, don't give up on me, Jimmy. I'm not giving up on you yet. And I stress the yet. But let's continue in the live chat here. There's no way this season ends without Jimmy getting his license back. I tend to agree with you, Jason, and if not, you're gonna have to. Jason takes the licensing boards. Friday the 13th, part 13. Would the next one be part 13?
I'm surprised. It's that seems kind of sketchy to me. Like, oh, you failed this. We don't like your answers, so you failed. You can't interview with us again for a year. That seems kind of weird. That there's no appeal to it. Seems kind of weird.
There is an appeal, but Jimmy's just saying the board that will hear the appeal will hear that they thought I was
insincere and
disingenuous. Means I'm going to lose. But Kim's going to go in there and kick some ass, and he's going to get his license, and she's going to convince. And then we already set up that all the criminals know him as Saul Goodman, so he's going to change his name or make his legal work name Saul Goodman. It's going to kind of go in that direction. I think. I also think that when I was it reminded me a lot of when I couldn't pass my license test. I took my license test twice with the same person. I passed it on my third time with a different person. The first time I took it, I legitimately failed. I fucking sucked. The second time, I did everything right. Everything right. And the guy at the end goes, "I'm sorry, I failed you." And I was like, voila! I did everything right. And he said, "Well, you seemed nervous." And I said, "What? Seem nervous? You failed me last time, and you're looking at me while I'm driving. It's fucking crazy. It's horrible." And I failed, and I didn't take my test for a while. And then Joe grilled me for 3 hours. That's a different story altogether. For one night where he made me drive around for, I want to say it was like 6 hours of driving, and then I passed my test the next day. But beside the point. But so it's like one little thing that he failed it for. You're telling me I did great for everything else, but you failed me because I didn't say my brother at the end. That's fucked, dude. Yeah. That's fucked, dude. Fuck you.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
It all means nothing unless you say amen at the end, dude.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't count, Joe. It's like... That being said, it does. It's like when you say that being said at the end, it doesn't really matter. I knew I couldn't go without making Game of Thrones reference. I can't help it. It's that and the Deep Space Nine reference. I mean, you can't blame Jimmy for lacking empathy after all Chuck put him through. I know Jimmy's a con artist, but still. Lindsay C., I agree with you. Chuck put him in a position where it's hard for him to even conceptualize that. He tried and he tried and tried, and the person he actually had all that empathy for was Chuck, and Chuck just kept spitting in his face, essentially. It's
right, but that's where you're running a con. If you're running a con, you're running a con. It doesn't matter. You can do it. You do it. You do what you need to do to get what you want. Like, you don't care who you step on or what you do to do it. You do it. Right? Like,
do what you want with my body, Joe.
So to say Chuck, it's not that big of a thing. Also, it's because you know who you're. Listen, it's biting your nose to spite your face. You know who you're talking to. You know there's a likelihood this was one of the most respected men in the field in this in this state, you know. So you know that there's influence here. You know everything that got you your license lost revolves around your brother Chuck, right? It's absolutely something they are looking for in this interview. Is not empathy to Chuck, is not, you know, I love Chuck, but they want you to at least mention him. And honestly, that's why you got into law in the first place.
It's the honest, Chuck. Yeah, it's the honest answer to that question.
It's the honest answer to that question.
That,
so it's like, yeah, you're giving the devil its due by saying it, but it's also the truth. It's like,
it's an element of truth.
Hey, you want to know what? Fuck it. I started smoking because I wanted to get close to a fucking girl. There you go. I wanted to be fucking cool. Right?
No,
hey,
that
didn't work. Wasn't cool. Really fucking fucked my health up.
Jason,
but hey, that's the truth of it, right? Come on. And anybody else who says otherwise about their own reasons for why they picked up a cigarette, they wanted to be fucking cool. They wanted to fit in. Go fuck you if you say otherwise. Straight up, I know you.
Oh my goodness.
Why you keep smoking isn't to be cool. It's because you're fucking addicted, and that's the nature of the beast. But, yeah.
What did you think? What did you think?
But yeah, it's Chuck. It's Chuck. Give the devil its due. Move the fuck on. You know, burn a Chuck effigy, a doll and effigy, fucking after you leave if you need to fucking clean your soul from its dirtiness. After fucking slipping the Chucky out your teeth. But come on. It's the truth. It's sincere, and it would have gotten him his license.
I agree. I wish I could argue with you. I do agree with you with most of your points there. So let's go. Super says, I so get why you didn't mention Chuck. I mean, I had this emotionally abusive stepmother who's essentially Chuck to me, and it'd be so rough to show her any acknowledgement in any kind of situation. Jason says that camera angle in the bedroom was so Oscar worthy. And
Thank you, Katie and I worked on the. Oh, you're talking about that show still.
Well, what show? Oh, so
whoops.
What were you guys talking about? Wait, what was going on? It was pretty difficult to be empathetic towards someone who treated you like. It is pretty difficult to be empathetic towards anyone that's treating you like absolute garbage. I agree with that.
Hey, listen. I have people that I feel like, you know, I have people in my life that I feel like have really wronged me over my life, over my childhood, did awful, horrible shit to me, right? But hey, I'm a better chess player. I'm a better basketball player. I know where those things are too. You know, like that's the sad fact of it. You know, my brother treated me like not the best person, and you know, didn't show me the love that I wanted from him. But I know that I was better at these things because of it. There's a lot in my life I'm better at because of him as well. You know, the devil gets its due.
Yeah, it does go both ways in some situations. It's those people in your life, you're those people in your life. So it's in some situations you're protective of them, and I think Jimmy is for a long time as well with Chuck. It comes to a point where he breaks down, but if Chuck had lived, who knows how that would have gone around. Who knows how they might have not become friends or anything changed, but they probably would have wrapped around each other again, and things would have kept happening between the two of them. Lady Laura Dane says, seriously, I need to watch the show. I always think about the scene with Chuck reading to Jimmy when they were kids, and it makes me hope Jimmy shows some type of love for him before the show ends. And also the letter that he wrote Jimmy, that we heard that Jimmy read so mockingly. It was the closest thing towards being proud of him that we ever saw come out of Chuck's mouth. Seriously, I need to watch the show. I think he's so mentally fucked when it comes to the subject of Chuck, says Bliss, that he can't think clearly. Mentioning Chuck was so obviously the right decision, whether he was being sincere or not. And I think that's what it comes down to, too. Not being necessarily empathetic towards Chuck. It's being able to read the room. But instead, it's very believable that he just had a block to it because he's emotionally shut himself. He doesn't even think about Chuck, because when you lie to yourself about a big thing like that, the easiest way to tread water, the easiest way to keep going is to tread water, is to not think about it, concentrate on other things. He's been so wrapped up in his cell phone schemes and thinking about opening his office, and wrapped up in Kim and building up all this anger and frustration to the office situation with Kim, and transferring that anger or sadness. If you're really fucking sad about something and some horrible shit happens in your life and you bottle that up inside, it's going to come out eventually. Eventually that bubble's going to burst out, whether it's out your ass, whether it's somewhere else, it's going to come out. And it comes through Kim to him eventually. I think he's building up over the course of this year as he's burying those Chuck feelings. He's giving this passive anger towards Kim about getting her shit together and having her stuff and separating from him professionally, and not having that touchdown end game of working with her, being with her, having everything he wanted, the respect of the team of Wexler and McGill, and killing it as the two of them. That's never going to happen. And he's transferring a lot of his Chuck anger out on that. Joseph says the only way he doesn't get his license back is by running some sort of con job with the ethics board. Oh, the only way he doesn't. Yeah, I think he's going to get it by Kim's going to help him. Personally.
Yeah, they're going to run some sort of con.
Some sort of con on it. They're going to get it together.
Use their powers for good.
Yep. Getting Jimmy's license back because he needs that. Bliss says, I think he's so meant. Oh, I already read that comment. Damn, Joe. Joe's getting all deep, says Heineken. Lady Laura says, I used to smoke, Joe. I started because I thought I was cool. Smoked for many years. Now I'm glad to say it's 6 years smoke-free. Quick, cold, fucking turkey. Awesome, Lady Laura. Miss Empress says, I took my first round of driving tests in the Royal Blue Camaro. Failed miserably because I couldn't parallel park to save my life. Second round from a vehicle from driving school. Failed inspection. Oh, no. And let's go. It hurt me to hear Jimmy lash out unfairly at Kim. He was seeing something that wasn't there, and it was unfair of him to do that, DJ says. And I agree, DJ. And it was so real, too, because I've been both sides of that situation. He says he was just lashing out, and still at the end of the episode, she's not done with him. She loves him deeply, without a doubt. Lindsay says, yeah, but you can't deny that Jimmy has a strong point when he said mentioning Chuck would be so insincere of him. He's not entirely wrong. So maybe he did think about it, and he thought that if I mentioned Chuck, that would be too bullshitty. But he needed to know, I guess, in that moment, again, read the room. We know it's easy for us. We're outside of the situation. That in that moment when she said, who's your influences? That she was poking for a Chuck mention. He should have said, oh, of course, my brother. My brother was an icon in this community. I mean, he could have even taken a piss out of it a little bit and shown some passive anger, but at least have mentioned him, I can't go without mentioning my brother. Yep. I don't care what happened between us or how I feel. His influence as a lawyer was paramount to me becoming the man I wanted to be. And
part of your penance and sentencing and all that is to, in at least the public's eye, right? You always hear it on every show you ever fucking watch that's like documentary, so-and-so did murder, right?
making the documentary murder.
When they made their statement, they showed no remorse. Watch them sit there with no remorse as the jury reads the verdict. Like it's about remorse, and they know that part of this licensure loss was over the brother. Show some fucking remorse. Also, the brother just died 6 months ago. Show some fucking remorse. This is now a deceased guy, even he's deceased. Let go of the bad shit and prop up the fucking legend or whatever. You're his brother.
Yeah, just do it in that situation. Yeah, but you can't deny. I bet Kim gets Howard to show up to help Jimmy to get his license back. Good point, Jason. Howard probably will play a part in this situation. Third round went back to the Camaro. It failed again.
I feel bad for Howard. I think he always liked Jimmy. I really do.
And I think he's going to go to bat for him in this situation. I really do. I think he's going to say, I think he's going to go, the reason why Jimmy didn't mention Chuck in his hearing, or he thought he's insincere because I fucked things up, it's all my fault, and Jimmy's a great man, and I got Chuck killed, and so he's blocking off. Howard's going to basically take take on the responsibility for this situation. Howard's going to help out Kim. A good point.
Yep.
Whoever said that in the live chat. Jay, I will get to your message in a little bit. It seems Jason Voorhees. Great. Awesome stuff, Jason. So let's go back into the episode here and zip through this a little bit because we kind of talked a lot about the Jimmy.
We jumped right to the fucking end.
And we'll just yada those situations when we come back to them. Play a little bit of audio from.
There was three. There was 3 segments to this show. There was the opening con. There's the tunnelers, right? The builders, and then there was the hearing. And
to our next segment, we come into the let's go. Oh, so Kim comes back in with the milk everywhere. Okay, so we come back in and we're listening to the Newlywed Game, and we're at the home, and we see Hector, and here comes Lalo, Salamanca, and Nacho. Lalo's like fuck, and he's a very interesting character. He gets into right with Hector. He wants Hector. He starts figuring out how to communicate with Hector, immediately spots that Hector is in there and connects with them. They talk about how he's reminding that they killed some guy and they burned all of his family. At first I thought they were talking about something to do with Gus, but I realized they were just talking about someone random that Hector killed at some point, and that they burned this guy's house and all of his family down. And then Lalo went back in there because he's a sentimental, and he wanted a memento of the situation because he's like Norman Bates on Bates Motel. Bell. Yeah, he wants to remember this bell. It was a little bit, oh, here's the bell. And so he brings out the bell. And Hector's fingers, give me the bell, give me the fucking bell. Ding, ding, ding. And we hear it. It brings back so many memories. It's amazing. We hear the bell. We hear the bell ring for the first time.
Vamos, tío. Mata.
Lalo loves it. That's what's up. And I think Lalo is going to be a very interesting character in season 5 of Better Call Saul. I think we're going to get a lot more into this element, and then Saul's going to be a lawyer. And at first I thought Kim wasn't going to be back for next season, and I thought Kim's storyline would be wrapped up at the end of the season. Now I'm not so sure. I think Kim will probably carry on into next season as well.
Yep.
And finish off her storyline at the end. She's just too good to lose from the show at this point. And I would have said the same thing about Michael.
Her storyline will wrap up at the beginning of next season, I think.
I tend to agree with that as well. And when Saul goes full on in with the Salamancas representing them, because we do know that he knows Lalo and his works already knows Nacho, but if he knows Lalo from mentioning him on Breaking Bad, then we know that he eventually works with him and gets involved in that storyline. So I think
Lalo gets picked up on some stupid fucking, like, no bullshit, nothing charge under his fake little fucking name or ID, and Jimmy has to get him off, and that's where Jimmy's like, ding, 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 ding. I got an idea. I'll change my name and get my license.
And someone said Hector's acting this scene was pretty fucking awesome, especially he breathed. It was 100% clear how he's feeling and thinking. And this actor, I don't know his name offhand, but he is he's one of those underrated character actors that's been in so many things. He is always awesome in it, from Oz to Breaking Bad to, I could just mention Carlito's Way. I'll just name those 3 so I don't start blanking, but there's so much more that he's in, and he's incredibly talented, incredibly fucking awesome. So let's continue here. And Lalo, the actor that plays Lalo, is playing at the balls, and I'm very excited to see him. He's got some very good lines. So they ask if they want to talk about the Chicken Man, and they do that. Lalo's done, and they also send Nacho out of the room at one point in time, and he's done and heads out past Chicken Man. I think he referred to him as he also calls him the Chicken Man sometimes, like meaning like.
I heard him say our Chilean friend. Or
okay, fair enough. But maybe I heard chicken. I had chicken on my mind. I wanted some fried chicken.
Polo hermano.
Yeah. Delicious. And I believe Lalo when he says it's such delicious chicken. So we come back in on Kim and Jimmy, who have some pancakes and are celebrating their victory. They're like 2 teenagers. Jimmy's got tons of coffee and sugar and he's going, I'll be a lawyer again. And he says, and this is where lays the seeds for becoming Saul Goodman, essentially. Oh gosh, this is big anticipation. What's going on? Do I have the right? I might.
Sounds like your mic's hot still while you're in the toilet.
I know it. That's what it's. I was on the wrong clip actually.
We just drove 300 miles to scam Lubbock, Texas, so that your client can have a 13% bigger bank branch. Don't get me wrong, I loved every second of it, but how was that using our powers for good?
And she basically says, if we're gonna play, we're playing my way. You know, if we're gonna do this kind of weird games, you know, I don't care if it makes
Can't fuck people over. We have to make it better for people.
Yeah, we have to do it by my way, and I'll know when it's right. I'll have my little spider sense, and I'll figure it out.
Powers are for good.
And we continue here, and shame. Oh, don't forget, we're gonna get to the Lalo and Gus scene. So then we go down the hole. We see the Dynamite Kid Kai doing what he has to do, being the boom guy, setting it up. Varner's there as well, and then a truck pulls up. Action Jackson here happens. Everyone checks in. Mike's running the game, and Kai and Varner talk German with no subtitles. And Mike is on the or there's a loose wire somewhere in all the setup. And Varner's gonna go and check. Mike's like, shouldn't Kai go? And Varner's like, no, I'll go in here. No big deal.
No, it's my job.
It's my job to go in there and figure it out. I'm Doc Brown in this situation. If something goes wrong with the whole setup, I have to go and fix it. So he heads down there, he climbs down, and every time this is what I said earlier, every time I'm watching this scene, I'm expecting this guy to die. And he's checking out the GIMP or the wires. If anyone knows what GIMP is, definitely looked like GIMP. And he's checking the wires, and he smells something and starts to shake. It looked like at first he was starting to have a stroke or something, but he's having a panic attack. And he says, "Put yourself together, you idiot." And he, for some reason, just him being scared, the music, the combination of the scene, it made me feel very uncomfortable. And in a good way, in like a good television way. Like I felt tense in this moment. Very tense. I can't explain it. And because there wasn't really anything tense happening. If there was different music in this scene, it was probably the music more than anything. Because if there was different, I would just do.
It was like Star Wars Cantina music. You would have felt differently about the scene.
Yeah, or if it was like this music, instead it was like happy.
Let's face the facts about John and Daenerys.
I mean, it was just like happy boat sex music and stuff. It would be very happy. So yeah, he goes down. He ends up fixing everything, and then they try it again, and everything explodes. And if people, I guess we should talk about this a little bit, but the whole scene where they sync up the truck driving over the grate they probably figured out makes the most sound during the explosions to kind of shield the explosion sound, I thought was kind of a cool touch. I'm not sure how much it would help, but I guess they probably practiced that and they've done it a few times, so it helped a lot. It's just the right place, the right time, and they got the timing of it down perfect. So Kai wants Mike to drink, and for the first time, we almost get Mike smiling as he has a beer.
No, I'm good, thank you.
No, we don't accept this. You can't be always on duty, Mike.
Come on, Mike, have a beer. So Mike comes over to Varner, and he's like, dude, what the fuck's up with you? And this is where we get into a couple of these really awesomely shot scenes, visually shot, where they have this setup here where they have Mike and Varner, just their heads over the couch cushions. And you can just see their heads. And then in the background, you see all the other guys playing basketball. And then there's something else going on the other side of the shot. I forget exactly what it is. There's just multiple things going on. And
they're playing volleyball.
Or whatever. Yeah, whatever they're doing. It's really cool. And they did that a couple times in this episode with the Jimmy and Kim scene at the end where they're both in different areas. And there's one other moment where I'll probably have it noted in the notes.
So why didn't Mike just offer to fly this chick out to him?
I thought that's what he was going with when he said, do you really want to see her? Why couldn't he do that? Why couldn't he take him out and fly them both to an undisclosed vacation area for 4 or 5 days somewhere privately? I mean, I guess he's thinking you've been late on this. We've catered to you guys so much. We can't keep catering to your demands. Gus will not deal with this. But But I don't know. I think Mike probably, when he's looking back on this, could have handled this situation better. He had a good working relationship with this guy. He probably could have figured something out. Do you think he fucked up here, Joe, a little bit?
No, because they have, for lack of a better term,
Jason,
a contract, right?
Jason Voorhees is saying Mike is learning the half measure lesson. No half measures.
Right. Which is also what good point, Jason, because that's the point of this whole episode, right down to the final meeting with Saul, and with our little Nacho drug dealer thing in the den, which was the lesson that, Salamanca dude, the fucking whatever ding 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 dude,
Hector.
We see this repeated scene that Hector did, right? So from earlier last season, I think, maybe, or earlier this season, last season. Well, that fucking lost Mike. Yeah, so no, I think he fucked up. I think there was things he could have done, but he definitely needed to be like, no, listen, we have a contract. We shouldn't have we've taken too long as is. He was definitely right in the things he said, but there was also more that could have been done. Yeah. Like, why didn't they offer to take? I don't know.
I guess they could have brought her there.
It's a little weird.
They could have. I think maybe when they brought to the strip club, it should have just been handled a little differently. But I don't know. That's for smarter men. That's for people like Mike to figure it out. Funny how Bluefish is funny how it said it would be crazy to go against Don Ilario, but Gus takes him out in Breaking Bad later on. So I think maybe the solution to that would have been to either not be nice to this guy at all and make him feel like he even has an opportunity to ask about this, or had offered to fly them both to a undisclosed location themselves. Like, say, fine, you and your wife can have a weekend in Atlantic City or something. Something like that, or at a tropical island, or get Gus to find somewhere, a safe house for them to go in the middle of nowhere somewhere. He needs to see his wife, and then he'll be charged to do the end of this thing, or not even say anything, and just kind of handle it. This is my business. But I don't know. I think maybe we're being a little nitpicky. I think this was a no-win situation with this guy, and this guy was going to break, and that's kind of, when we look back, he was a little too emotional. He got drunk and talked to people because he was looking for a connection. He's a few too many long stares and emotional moments, and trying to connect with Mike as a friend because he needs that connection. He's having panic attacks because he doesn't have that one person in his life to be a rock to right now, so he's freaking out. So I don't know. Bernie says that rock was so fake, it took me out of Warner's fake panic attack. I feel like they're living in a Sam's Club. Because there's a job to finish. From now on, I'm referring to Hector's as the ding ding dude. Dingity ding 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 dude. So let's continue here. Zipping through here. So he's lost. He's adrift without his wife. He wants to go. Please, can I just go for 4 or 5 days? And Mike's like, dude, listen, no. Listen. Do you love your wife? Do you really want to see your wife? And yes, I do. I really love my wife. And I feel for you, but sorry, dude, you can't see her. Work hard and you'll have more money than you ever can deal with. So yeah, not much more to say about that until the end here. This guy doesn't take that, and he figures a way out. He Andy Dufresne's his way out of this fucking place, as someone said earlier in the live chat. So, and he didn't even have to climb through shit. He just needed to create a little MacGyver device to get himself out of there. So here we go into, we see Lyle, another Breaking Bad cameo with Lyle from Polos here, with Gus saying, Gus, there's some fucking Salamancas in here, and they're annoying to me. Or no, Lyle's from earlier in this season, whatever. We see, or last season. So there's some Salamancas here again, and I'm kind of scared. And then we get this whole scene. I want to play all this because this was one of the best scenes of the episode. One of the best scenes that Gus has played, and he's had some good moments since he's been back on Better Call Saul. Since he's been on Better Call Saul. But to me, this scene right here, from beginning to end, is the best I've seen is my most interested I've been in a Gus moment. It's just the interactions between these two, knowing the subtext of what probably both of them are thinking, that Lalo is kind of going to fake. They're both faking in different ways, and both actors are kind of killing it here. So let's listen to this, and then Joe and I will babble about this for a little bit.
Man who just came in, and I know that it's been a while, but I was just like, he is so familiar. I think it's one of the guys that, made all the trouble last year. And not the main guy, which is what...
Mike to Varner. Say my name, Varner. Michael, you're goddamn right. And if I am who you think I am, Varner, if I am who you think I am, Varner, I'd say tread lightly. Where's David when I need him?
Totally sure.
I see.
He's not doing anything, though. He and the other guy were...
Jay said, I just looked up someone's YouTube channel that had over 1 million subscribers and no content at all. Holy shit, they probably just bought the 1 million subscribers. And then they're going to upload content soon. But look, we got 1 million subscribers. Or maybe they just wanted the award. They wanted the gold statue that YouTube sends you, or whatever it is, the little play button. So they bought this. They bought themselves a play button. Fucking ridiculous. Jay, that cracks me up, dude. Thanks. Salamanca is fun to say, Bernie.
Food, and they're just sitting, but I thought that you want to know.
Oh, thank you, Lyle.
It's a toss-up. Who's the better bullshitter, Jimmy or Gus? I say Gus. Gus is so polished, and I'm gonna play the rest of the scene because I really do want to listen to the scene. But Gus is super polished. But we do have a super chat donation from Easy Mac. Phil and Joe keeping it real. Lots of love, Easy Mac. Joe is gonna take a shot. I'm gonna spin the wheel, but it's gonna. It landed on everyone. Drink. It landed on everyone. Drink. Holy shit.
Baby.
Now I'm gonna give you another spin, a real spin. Everyone drink. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's toast this up to Better Call Saul as Joe and Katie are picking some shots. But I'm going to take a sip now. But I bought some beer. It was horrible, so I'm drinking champagne. But Easy Mac, thank you so much for the super chat. It means so much.
I'm drinking champagne, too.
Oh, you are? Really?
Yeah.
I'm drinking. I'm totally drinking champagne. Is that what you call tequila? It is your champagne.
The champagne of champagnes.
It is, or beer is if you go with the Miller High Life.
It's the Mexican champagne.
Here we go. So someone came in, and let's play a little bit of this while we're pouring.
Take care of it.
I'll do it. Stay thirsty, my friend.
Is everything to your liking?
Are you kidding me? This is the best chicken I have ever had.
Oh, this is too.
I'm delighted to hear that.
No, really, I'm serious. I mean, it's crispy, but it's not dried out. And the seasoning, it's so flavorful.
Well, thank you. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Is there any chance, and I know the answer is probably no, but is it possible for me to meet the owner?
I am the owner.
Really?
But
how lucky for me.
But DJ, to answer your question, it is Gus. Gus has a fine science to his bullshit.
Well, perhaps we should go to my office where we can discuss.
Oh, that was horrible news. He's going to be incredibly dangerous for Saul next season, I bet. If Saul gets to a point, as I was mentioning at the beginning of the episode in Breaking Bad, where when Walt and Jesse kidnap him, he thinks that it's Lalo, and he thinks he's in major trouble, that it's Lalo. If we're getting to that point where Saul is that scared of this guy that he thinks he would get to a point to kidnap him, then some fucked up shit's gonna happen next season between the two of them. I can't wait for that. As much as I love the Kim and Jimmy, I love all the separate segments that's happening this season. Joe was mentioning this earlier. We basically talked about the Jimmy and Kim situation from beginning to end. We will play some audio clips from it, but we didn't mention any of the other stuff because it's so separated from everything else in the episode. Equally as awesome. It's not like some shows where I go, this is the worst part of the show. I like this character, this character, this character. I wish they wouldn't focus on this character's storyline. I like something like Shameless is an example of that. Some of the characters on Shameless I like following, and I like their storylines. Some stuff I'm like, do we have to follow this character? It's fucking stupid. I don't want to follow this storyline. But Better Call Saul, unlike a lot of shows like that, doesn't really have one of the storylines where you're like, I wish this shit would end and they get back to Jimmy and Kimmy. It's more, I just want more of it all. And each one could carry an episode on its own, and the way they mix everything is really awesome. And I love all of this Gus and...
You think there could be a standalone Kimmy episode?
It was just a Kim episode, just on Kim stuff?
Yeah, like Walking Dead does those, right? Like,
no.
like just this person, just that. You think they could? So you know they could do it just a Gus episode, right? Because that's like exciting, fantastic shit.
Do you know what? I think they could, but I don't think that's the show that they wanted to do. I think they did do it with Mike though. There was one episode that was just a Mike episode.
Yeah,
and
well, that's why I'm wondering if you think they could do it with a Kim, because everything, I've done a couple of articles. I've perused a few here and there talking about other people's thoughts of the show, and there's a lot of talk about Kim being the big catalyst behind Saul Goodman and his downfall or whatever, and the biggest influence and all this shit. So like, do you not think she doesn't deserve it? I mean, we have had episodes that were basically revolved around Kim. I would say this show has right now 3 leads. It has were you blowing kisses to Robert? Yes, I was blowing. Phil called me a sexy man beast. So yes, that kiss was to Robert in the live chat. Thank you, Joe, for being aware of who I'm throwing my kisses to. That wasn't. Did you think I was like kissing off your opinion, like Joe's opinion? So I was like, did you just blow me a kiss? And then I looked at the chat like, oh, okay.
Okay, yes. So Gus and Lalo sit down and we have this really awesome conversation.
What may I do for you, senor?
Where we get to a different layer of their bullshit. But to answer your question, do I think Kim could carry an episode? I think she has. I think she's carried the heavy game. A couple of episodes this season have been very Kim heavy, to the point where her storyline at least was a big half of the episode. But to answer the bigger question, this show did have that Mike episode 5 of season 1, but it's a far different show now in season 2, 3, and 4 than it was in season 1. It was still getting its sea legs in season 1. I think now the show it needs to have the ebb and flow of the storylines to kind of be the dynamic thing it is. Also, I wanted to mention that in last episode, with something that they were trying to do, the bus scene, they said they initially tried to shoot it, or there was talks and they set it up that they shot it on like a green screen instead of on location, just to kind of save some money. And they shot it and they said, this isn't our show. And they ditched it and reshot the scene on location in Lubbock, Texas, and set everything up.
With him on a bus.
Crowd
around in circles.
Yeah, crowd around circles because of the light. They said they tried it and they said, fuck this. This isn't our show.
It's not. No, that's not their show. Like what they put Breaking Bad on film, right? Which shows a level of art, right? Of like artistic integrity, filmmaking integrity for what they're trying to do. That you throw a green screen in there like that, it takes their whole from all of it.
Joe, just on what you just said, because you weren't here this week when it happened, and I don't know if it was one of the episodes you might have missed. But in the episode earlier this season, when we get the Saul Goodman appearance, the flash forward where he's in the future, and it's in the Breaking Bad timeline, it's the first time.
And he's burning all the documents.
Yes.
Or shredding all
yes,
the documents.
They went and Better Call Saul just in
got the scenery out.
They got the scenery out, but Better Call Saul, if people don't know, is digitally shot. Breaking Bad was shot on film, as Joe just mentioned. For that scene, just that scene, they shot it on film. They went back and shot that fucking scene on film
to keep the continuity of the look.
Dude, they did it. They actually fucking did it. Isn't that fucking incredible? Isn't that incredible? That's that much.
They have thought put into this past what we get.
We're not used to
past. Not what we get, past what, like, they have the little details.
It's the little details. It's paying attention to, and I
not only does the devil get its due, but the devil's in the details.
The devil is in the details. Hey Phil, we got Cat.
Goodness,
holy shit. Hey Phil and Joe, haven't seen the show yet. Just came in, sound off to give you guys a thumbs up. Thank you for the recaps. Thank you for popping on in the comment section and leaving your thoughts. Is fucking awesome. Do you think Lalo is dead by the Breaking Bad timeline? No, because Saul mentions him. So I do think he's alive at that point in time. Holy shit, we got 2 super chat donations. You guys are fucking amazing tonight. Really do appreciate it. Robert says, spin that wheel. Don't care how. I just want it now. Don't care now. I want it now. Spin the wheel. Spin the wheel. I'm spinning it again. Spin the wheel. Spin the wheel.
You didn't want to do push-ups.
Oh, no. I don't even know what it was listening on. I'm not even trying. Joe Drink.
Joe Drink. Katie.
Spin. For Shields. Shields. Thank you so much, Shields. Shields says, oh gosh. Shields, I don't know if I can do this tonight, but I'll try. Shields, I get to make up a song. I have to make up a song for you. You give me the topic. Shields, email me at igotissuesman@gmail.com or throw it in the chat right now and make sure I see it if you know. I'll try to remember. But
her answer.
But email me at igotissuesman@gmail.com your idea for a silly song. Just like a 30-second blurb. Can be the most ridiculous shit you want. And I'm gonna give you let's give it a second. One more spin just for the love. Okay, so let's continue with this discussion right now as Joe comes back.
Salamanca. Eduardo Salamanca.
And Joe, do a character impression of Saul Goodman doing a character. When Joe comes. Okay.
I don't know any Saul Good characters of Bob Odenkirk's.
Give me your best better Call Saul. Give me your best Better Call Saul. I love making
from the commercial.
Yes.
You put me on the spot. Okay. So no, I'll give you a non-attorney paid spokesman for Better Call Saul, attorneys at law in Mesa Verde, Arizona. They got me out of 2 DUIs, 3 felony burglaries, and 1 home invasion, all with just probation. So call Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul. Because I think I need another DUI attorney tonight.
This message is brought to you by.
Shut the fuck up, Joe.
My camera wasn't on.
That's fine. It worked anyway.
My camera
wasn't on. But thank you guys so much for the super chat donations. You have no clue how much they matter. Kim losing her license over Jimmy would be heartbreaking, probably even more so than her dying. Do your impression of Saul Goodman, doing an impression of Bob Hope, doing an impression of Mick Jagger. It just comes off like Fat Elvis somehow, Robert. Somehow. Hey, baby. Sorry.
Just do the dancing in the streets fucking song.
That'd be horrible. Okay.
Is that Mick and what's his name? Dancing in the street.
I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of Americans. Okay.
I watched that video and I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
That's
the jackets, the hair, the fucking bad fucking corpse fucking zombie dance.
Oh my!
He's done much better in Thriller, that's for sure.
Oh my God, Shields. Okay, let's hear a song about Rick Grimes' final episode of The Walking Dead. Okay, so if I'm gonna try to copy paste that right now. So I'm trying to remember. Let me copy that and paste it somewhere so I can fucking remember. It's a good one. If you can email me at igotissuesman@gmail.com to remind me about that, and I will do that for the first episode of The Walking Dead. I will try to have even like a 30-second little blurb for Rick's. For a little Rick leaving The Walking Dead, or if something occurs to me tonight in the moment, I'll pop out on it. But otherwise, I'll try to remember that. But let me text myself or something. I'm getting drunk off champagne, so I might forget it tomorrow. But no, you will email me. Perfect. Okay, so
it'll also be in the chat.
Oh, that's true. I always forget that the chat now is saved, so we don't have to worry about it disappearing anywhere. Okay, so let's continue. Phil, Joe sounded like two bozos that found the Red Sox banner. We're trying to do the right thing here, dude. We're trying to do the right thing.
I found the Red Sox banner. What Red Sox? What happened?
I think when you were doing your Saul Goodman impression that the Boston accent was coming out. You were sounding like the guys from Celtic Pride kidnapping Damon Wayans or something.
Right.
Dude, I'm from Boston. Joe, that's a bad video, but you haven't seen an amazing bad until you've watched David Hasselhoff Hooked on a Feeling.
Oh no.
Call me Lalo.
Don't hassle the Hoff, man.
And
He's out there doing his thing.
I've been an admirer of yours for many years. You have how many of these restaurants?
7.
7. And starting from nothing. That's incredible.
What may I do for you?
Starting from the chicken.
I come here on behalf of my entire
egg.
family.
This scene reminded me of a scene from The Sopranos where there's two people talking that aren't saying anything to each other. There's nothing being said. Ultimately, it's just, yeah, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you too. Yeah, it's really nice. I'm going to kill you. Oh, hey there, how are you doing? I fucking hate you, you piece of shit.
That's just it. Everything is being said.
Everything is being said now we sound like nihilists. Everything's being said and nothing's being said. Nothing is nothing, leaves nothing. Motherfucker had something. Motherfucker catch you in the mouth. What about that red AMC Javelin? Nacho was driving those cars so fast. It was insane. Watch that video. I'm telling you, Joe. Watch the fucking video. Watch the Hoff. Watch the Hoff, he says, Joe. So he asks, Lalo kind of tries to set him up a little bit or poke around that, we should, Don Hilario's probably trying to perpetuate our problems. And you be an idiot to try to fuck him over, and which was mentioned earlier. He eventually does make a move on them, and it's a very cool scene between the two of them. I mean, play the whole thing.
Deepest thanks.
Well, for what?
For what?
But Lalo heads out of there and asks Nacho.
So you pick up 6 keys a week?
Oh, I forgot the best part of all of these scenes that I don't want to overlook. There was a moment, Joe, where when Gus immediately walks over to the table to greet them after the kid tells them that they're there, and Lalo gets up to go into the other room. Yeah, and he gives the look to Nacho, and Nacho gives this. What the fuck can I do about Salamancas?
Yeah, dude. My bosses, dude. You tell me to do something, I do it. He tells me to do something, I do it. What the fuck you want me to do?
Yeah,
Shoot me or...
You expect me to control the Salamancas? Are you an idiot? Like you know you're smart enough to know I can't do that. Come on, dude.
Nacho's dipping.
What do you mean?
He went to his safe after, like, I think we're.
Oh yes. Oh yes. I think he's out of here. I think Nacho wants to go to. He's dipping. He's leaving. He's gone. He wants to go to Canada or with his father. He was saving up money. He's waiting for an opportunity to leave, but I don't think he'll get that opportunity.
Where's he gonna go?
I think he's gonna run from the cartel. Good luck with that. Yeah. He's going to Canada. I think that's his game. I don't think he's gonna last long. So,
how much money does he have? How long is that money gonna last him?
I don't think he has any concept right now. I think all he knows is he wants out. Is hot. He's thinking, how the fuck did I get this far in this?
He gets deeper. Higher up the tree and deeper in.
I don't think he wants to be this deep, though. I think he's having.
Never wanted to be this deep.
No, he just wanted to. Which
teenage gangster that went fucking.
But who knows about? Like, it's interesting to think about this though, and they were talking about this a little bit on the.
Another prequel, a Nacho prequel.
But if you think about it, his dad has a relatively successful business, and to his dad, this is like breaking his heart. They were talking about this on the Better Call Saul Insiders podcast. I'm kind of stealing what the actor that plays Nacho was talking about. It's like a question of what was it that made him do this? Was it just because some of his friends were into it? Was it because he wanted to make his own thing in his own way? He did the absolute thing to kill his father, ultimately. You're breaking your father's heart. When he said Hector Salamanca, his father was like, fuck, dude, you're involved with them. And he obviously loves his father. It's not a fuck you, dad, you're a piece of shit. He has a good relationship with his father, and his father has a successful business, or a relatively successful business. I think there's more to.
Reupholsters cars for fucking cholo gangsters. Who gets their car reupholstered, dude? Who honestly gets their fucking car reupholstered? Like niche fucking auto mechanics and like, I guess maybe a lot of people do. I don't want to be generalizing. Like, a lot of people get their car reupholstered.
Everyone does.
They drive in like Mike in their vintage fucking Caprice, and they get told, dude, go buy a new car.
Just get that shit. Get your busted ass shit out of here. Nacho prequel. But I just think there's a lot more to the Nachos. I'm not saying we need a Nacho prequel, but I think it's interesting to think about Nacho and how he came to this point, because he never seems, from the very beginning, like he really craves power, craves to be at the front of the line of that situation. He's more like, fuck, how am I in this deep? I want out. So,
a vacuum cleaner disappear? Are you talking about American Strays?
Ooh, good movie. I think Nacho's going to bring the vacuum cleaner. Oh, okay. The vacuum cleaner disappearing guy. The guy that set Walter White out, you know, calling the...
oh, right.
I want to order a Hydrogen X model Z2830. It's how hot's that? Very hot. Very hot. I wouldn't doubt if Nacho does something like that. Maybe he's saving up because Jimmy...
Nacho talks to Mike.
And Mike gets him out.
And Mike gets him out through the vacuum cleaner guy.
Or Saul. He also knows Saul.
Or, right. Nacho knows Saul?
Yeah, they had interactions a couple of seasons ago. And I know it seems so long ago, but...
But was it...
No, they had sort of a falling out, but they worked together on a scam.
Right, okay. Yeah, no. He's going to go to Mike. Mike's going to rehook him up with him. They're going to get him out.
DJ Better. We need to start a petition to get DJ Better a little Nacho... Nacho time, 101 Nacho time. We let's hashtag DJ and Nacho here. So that or possibly Jimmy put Kim in danger. Kimmy brings in that guy. Intriguing. A lot of really awesome options here. So Lalo wants to see where they pick up the drugs. So we come back in and Jimmy looks very Saul-like as he's rehearsing. He's going to be a lawyer again. He heads in, and we talked about this before, but let's listen to a little bit of this.
Great. And
we're all a bit buzzed, DJ, and you don't have to worry about that. This is the show that's founded on talking about guys that are kidnapped in the lovely Timo's basement.
It's Timo's Red of the Night. It's Timo's Red of the Night. Fuck Sansa. Fuck Sansa. Fuck Sansa. Fuck Sansa. It's Timo's Red of the Night. It's Timo's Red of the Night. It's Timo's Red of the Night.
I love
it's
it.
Timo's Red of the Night.
Fuck Sansa.
Timo has a very time-consuming job these days, so she isn't able to be out here as much as possible. But she is amping back to come back for Game of Thrones when that's finally back. She's doing some hard work, and she does poke in, is ninjaing in occasionally, but I've talked.
She's a ninja?
She's a little bit of a ninja. Yeah, she's
doing ninja-ing.
She's doing ninjing, so ninjas need to vanish. But Timo will be back one day. Lots of Timo.
Oh, ninja-ing.
No,
okay,
Timo's not in the chat right now, but lots of love. Always sending love out to the one and only Timo. Okay, so he heads in, and okay, so we're back in, and Jimmy looks very solid. Like, heads in, everything's so good. The angle coming in is from the board as we hear Jimmy do really well in this con game.
Looks like you've completed the pre-prosecution.
DJ, do not behave.
Program?
That's right. 3.5 weeks ago.
Yeah, they worked on robbing the embezzling the family. Thank you, Ahmed.
I believe if you look at the supplemental materials, there's a letter from my supervisor, Brad Markham.
Good.
This is like watching a train wreck.
He says he was impressed with your commitment. And for most of last year, you've been employed at CC Mobile?
It's a cell phone store. And again, there's a letter from my manager, Mr. Robert Finn. It's also in the supplemental materials.
Says here you were part of something called the Silver Circle, 3 months in a row.
It's a sales award. And Mr. Finn and the people at CC Mobile have been very generous. You don't have to sell many phones to get in the silver, believe me.
So he's doing very well in his con game so far, Joe. It sounds genuinely genuine. Do you think it... Okay, this is where we come down to, did he fail the con, or is this a spite fuck you because he doesn't mention Chuck?
It's a spite fuck you because he doesn't mention Chuck.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, as the saying goes, the law is constantly changing. Have you been keeping yourself apprised?
Oh, yes.
I've been reading the Bar Journal.
I've been reading the snooty schnooty booty news, and I know you're snooty. He had one locked in. Oh, why did I put up that? Why did I put the sound effect up? He had one locked and loaded, Joe. The dude The dude on the panel bears a facial resemblance to Gail Boddicker. I didn't notice that. I'd have to rewatch that, but we did get a Gail appearance this season. Hannibal, great to see you. Genuinely genuine right here. Definitely genuinely genuine.
Their assailants in open court, but
oh, of course.
The Sixth Amendment is pretty controlling.
DJ says, I'll behave, otherwise I'll completely take over the chat with sex talk, and that's not why we're here. No, that'll be a separate podcast coming soon.
I've been doing my level best.
Called The Issues Guy coming? No.
Mr. McGill, is there anything you'd like to tell us about the reasons you were suspended in the first place?
This past year, that's pretty much been the only thing on my mind. And
because he doesn't address any of the issues.
No, not really. He talks around this too.
By the sheer stupidity of my actions. Remorse doesn't begin to cover it.
He speaks very generally here.
I'm not going to make excuses because there's no excuse for what I did. But as I sit here, I can assure you.
He sounds like a child just saying, I'm sorry I did what I did.
Happen again.
A little. It'll never happen again.
Well, all right.
But generally, they seem pleased at this point.
Seem to be satisfactory.
Because no, that answer is honest and truthful. He would do it differently so he didn't get caught.
Yeah, exactly. You're not sorry. You're just sorry. Because you're not sorry. You're just sorry you got caught.
Meg, you have something?
Don't you,
Mr. McGowan?
Oh, and here it comes. Here it comes. Okay, so it's actually in the next number. So.
What is the
this
law?
is such a bullshit fucking question too. Like,
what's the law? It reminds me of some weird college exam kind of question. Whoa.
Yeah.
And I love his response too. I think the worse than him not.
What is attending? Salem State mean to you?
Being a Viking truly means the essence of my heart, because the Vikings went with their hearts. And but no, I'm gonna stop now.
Okay.
And I like witches.
And Salem means like witches and Vikings, so it's like totally two awesome, cool things that rock, dude.
Listen, growing up, becoming a lawyer was the last thing on my mind. Even if I wanted to, I didn't have the smarts or the skill.
See, I think he was being generally truthful here with what he was saying to the certain extent, at least the first half. Like, about him having trouble and where he got his law license, he's being very, okay, this is what I really did.
Or the stick-to-itiveness.
Yeah, the best part is where he names the mascot. And Hannibal says Salem State.
But I happened to get a job with some attorneys, and I couldn't help but think, maybe I could do that.
Jay says, I disagree with your assessment. I think he seemed really sincere there. And I think Joe agrees with you there that at the beginning he was being generally as sincere as Jimmy can be.
Something inside me made me want to try. Now listen, my diploma says the University of American Samoa Law School, and that's exactly what it sounds like. That's a correspondence school. I wish it said Georgetown or Northwestern, but UAS is the only one that would take me. Because let me tell you, I wasn't a natural. I mean, the classes, the studying, trying to pass the bar, practically killed me. I must have quit 10 or 12 times, but I kept coming back to it, and I'm really glad I did. Because when I got to work with actual clients, there was nothing else like it. Our legal system is complicated, and sometimes it could feel capricious, but it's the closest thing to real justice that we've got. And for it to work, it needs vigorous, passionate advocates.
Be a
My
good
brother,
helping my
Charlie,
clients, arguing on their behalf.
Use the Chuck,
That's
Luke.
the best thing I've ever
Use the
done.
Chuck.
And this past year, I've missed the hell out of it.
Chuck. Oh my goodness. So
That was very-
okay. Okay, so we take your fucking bullshit answer. We'll accept your fucking horrible fucking answer there. But I'm going to give you one last chance here. One chance. One chance. Here it is.
What?
Chuck!
Was there any particular influence on your views?
Chuck!
Credit where credit is due.
Okay.
Chuck!
The University of American Samoa.
Chuck!
Go land crabs.
Chuck! Chuck! Oh, what's in the chuck?
What's in the chuck?
What's in the chuck?
I think we have everything we need.
What's in the
You'll be getting a letter with our decision in the next few days.
Go land crabs, Katie just yelled out from the other room. She's not even watching us. She didn't even know that just played in the sound clip.
Go land crabs, Katie. I think I can hear it. I think that was audible. People that want the Katie Crow appearance. There you go. We got Katie with perfect timing as always right there. Oh my goodness. Okay, so go land crabs.
Chuck.
Is there anything else we need to say about this though that hasn't already been said, except for Chuck? What the fuck, dude? So Mike heads to Chuck. No, Mike heads to the. Sorry, Mike DJ Chuck. Ever in the live chat, Chuck.
He goes home and he kicks his dog and beats his wife because it's their
goodness.
fault. What a typical fucking shit, right? Like,
so.
He's like, I had a bad day at the office. I'm gonna go yell at Kim now.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that in a second. But Mike heads to the spy shack and talks to Kai, and or talks to them. And Kai's cheating at volleyball. And you're right, Joe, it was volleyball. And the dude, the German guy, got a new puppy. We're just setting up later that they end up coming back here when he figures that he got Andy Dufresne. So Varner's done, and Mike says, well, let him talk for as long as he wants. But you can see him on his face as he spots one of the cameras as he's sort of formulating his plan. That you know that the wheels are in motion, that you don't realize how far along he is, but you know that he's thinking about how to get the fuck out of there. So, yes, Joe. Then we come over to Kim decorating. She has the cup. I don't have it right here. It's all packed away, but the world's the best from Taka gave it to me. The lawyer cup she's writing again on the bottom. And I wonder if they're going to sell that like Ghostbusters 2 with the two.
No, we're gonna
AMC
get that,
is.
We're gonna see that like left behind at the apartment they like move out of or some shit.
Jay says, I don't know who Chuck is, but he better be reinstated. Otherwise, it's stupid if he becomes a lawyer again. I'm not gonna say anything to that, but Jay, I love you, buddy. He did get Shawshanked, Hannibal. He totally got Shawshanked. You just got Shawshanked, motherfucker. That'd be a great show. You know, like Punked. You just got Shawshanked.
Yeah, I don't know about reformed.
But
Joe, the man sitting in front of you is 75 years old.
Joe,
I ain't gonna run around rubbing banks.
Joe, stop being obtuse. Come on, dude.
Oh, did you just call me obtuse?
Joe, stop being obtuse.
I lack right angles.
Stop being obtuse.
I think that's obtuse.
No, that's an epitomist. No.
I'm not sure. I'm like, I am right angles. I'm blunt. Obtuse is blunt.
Or something.
Lacking right angles or something.
Whoever said a small amount of knowledge is dangerous is
someone
that could be a subtitle for our
definition
show.
of obtuse. How wrong am I?
Jeffrey Townsend says, is anyone else disappointed in this episode? I'm sure there are some people, and I want to put it out there. If you are, put it in the comment section if you're watching this episode later. Don't feel like we have to be an echo chamber. If anyone has any issues with this episode, let us know. Bernie was having some problems with some of the sets, the way it looked. And I mean, everyone's free to their opinion, so definitely tell us if you think meh or whatever. We want to know. We want to hear that too. I thought this scene showed how talented and smart Kim is multitasking. Fuck right angle, says Hannibal. Yeah.
Of an angle more than 90 or less than 180, therefore not a right angle.
Damn, Joe. Going all geometry on me here. Joseph says not in the slightest. It was one of the best ones. # suspense. I agree with Joseph, but I like to be like, no, fuck Jeffrey, you're not welcome here if you don't think what I think, motherfucker. No, I mean people can vibe with different episodes in different ways, but I tend to feel like this was one of my favorite episodes of the season, and I'm really excited for next week. I think it sets things up amazingly for the season finale to close up a lot of these storylines and see how much gets stretched to next season, and it really amps up the energy of some pressure on with Mike hunting the German. And I think that should. What are they? The hunting Eichmann? They're going down to.
Isn't Herman Trout is hunting Germans?
Nah, Mike is hunting Germans. Where's our theme song? We're gonna get our theme song. This week on the Hunters. No. So yes, Mike's hunting the Germans.
Oh, and that's them down. I got Blunt in there and basically no right angles. Boom.
Jeffrey says Jeffrey says I keep expecting something big to happen. Fair. Wide. Yeah, wide, says Jordy. Nice and wide. Why do you want to be a lawyer? I want money. I need money. Give me all the money. Give me the money now.
Right. Why do you want to be a lawyer? Because it's better than fucking selling cell phones, flipping burgers, freaking parking cars, freaking better than a lot of other things out there that
it's
I
fucking
could be doing.
Sweet.
Like,
why do I want to be a lawyer?
In the copy machine room.
Why do I want to be a lawyer? Because it's fucking sweet, and this has been my plan all along. Get these people
money,
and set it up as with the cell phones to make the connection in the criminal or in the base level of the criminal underworld organization there, so you can get all these clients when they'll know your face when they need a lawyer, and when you put your face on billboards everywhere. It's all part of the plan, which is why he's going to be Saul Goodman in that situation. He is Saul. He's always been Saul. He's always been Jimmy. It's interesting. It's a fun thing to talk about on the show when he's a little Saul, but he's always Saul and he's always Jimmy.
And so that's the question. When does he become Saul Goodman? When does he become Saul Goodman? He became Saul Goodman before he ever went to Arizona. When we see that, we see him running the Saul Goodman. Like we see it right from episode.
He's had that
1.
forever. Like he's had that.
Right?
He's had that since Slip. That's been a name he's gone to. Yeah, he's always been Saul Goodman, and he's always been Jimmy, as we see in the Breaking Bad flash forward section of this season of Better Call Saul, as he's still Jimmy. Francesca knows him as Jimmy. He tell him Jimmy sent you. Jimmy's in there. He's just, we don't see that on Breaking Bad because we only see him from Walt and Jesse's perspective. That's why I always go, I don't think he's still with Kim. I really don't believe this, but that's why I say we don't know. We don't know anything about Saul for real during the Breaking Bad timeline.
No, we only ever see him in the intense moments that he's needed.
Or in the office just doing very regular mundane office tasks. So we don't really know what his home life is, what his personal life is, how well adjusted he is about all the shit he's happened.
Right, because part of, like, every time we see him in the future going through his daily routine and his life and shit, we get the feeling like he's extremely depressed because he's lost his job, he's lost his lawyering, he doesn't get that money anymore, he's on the run for his life and all this and his freedom. But it could also be because he had to leave Kim.
Yeah, it could be. That could be a big part of it, why he just closes off and goes all into that situation. And I also think that the con man, him as that Saul Goodman, as Ono says in the live chat, is him in his best. That's him in his best form. That's where feels the most like himself, if that is. But I do think the moral compass of Jimmy somewhere in there, or not moral, but a nice guy in the Jimmy we've seen.
What's that guy's name?
Jimmy?
No, the Cinnabon guy. Cinnabon Saul.
Gene.
Okay.
Gene. I think Jimmy's still in there. And the nice Jimmy that we know that cares about Chuck, that actually has empathy for people, that's still there. We just don't see him because of everything that happens with Chuck, everything that happens with Kim eventually as well, all drives into a point where this is the only thing that works for me. This is the only thing that works for me. And I'm just going to keep moving forward with this because if I deal with things, fucked up shit happens. And he gets to this point here as we get into this scene that we've talked about a lot, but he just loses it on Kim. And some amazing acting by both of them here. from beginning to end. Play.
So I got to say this.
Do it.
The acting was really good, but I thought the writing kind of sucked.
Interesting.
When Jimmy snaps back at her at one point, she says something like, play the clip.
Let's listen.
Within the seller's knowledge to the best of the seller's knowledge.
Slow down.
But you have to give us
Oh, no.
Slow down.
We'll skip ahead. It's a little after that.
Sincere. Insincere.
Jimmy, what happened?
A goddamn year. What am I supposed to do for a whole year?
Jimmy.
Guarantee I'm not selling cell phones for a fucking year, I'll tell you that.
What did they say exactly?
Hard pass. And don't tell me I can appeal because once the board hears the word insincere, I'm screwed.
Jimmy.
How do you disprove insincere?
Jimmy, just take a breath and start from the beginning, please.
I was good, Kim.
And that's such a, that's,
I mean,
hold on a
I
second.
wasn't...
That's such a like, yes, that line right there is brilliant. Once the board hears insincere, how do you disprove insincere? That is such a con man line. He knew once he heard that, once he heard insincere from one of the people he was trying to con, he knew it was over and it would be over. It's done.
They have a read on you.
Don't have the confidence, you're done.
Yeah, you're you can't be a confidence man. Yeah, they made him. They made him. Jeff says he must legally change his name to Saul Goodman to do another degree at Western Samoa University, redo law school, take the bar exam under that name. Very interesting. Do you think that Kim will die? Go to jail. She'll go away in some fashion. I don't know. I don't think she's going to die.
On all those forms, have you ever, practiced law under another name?
Yeah, I mean, yes.
I've had those questions on forms that, have you ever worked for this company under a different name?
Maybe he could. No, because he's just gonna lie. He's gonna get all the new identity stuff. He's gonna.
But he's also in the same area.
Maybe I don't know if he's gonna
know him. He'll have to be in and out of courtrooms that know his face.
Maybe he'll just find some way and just advertise as Saul Goodman, but he makes up like a fake certificate to hang in the office
Like
say
that works if you leave the state.
No, I think what he'll do is he'll ultimately be licensed as Jimmy McGill. He just doesn't. He hides his real license, and he had a fake one made up for the office that says Saul Goodman.
But that wouldn't matter because it's all about the board. It's all about the law.
Right, but I think he's going to get his license back from the board.
Right. Yes.
I think he's just.
I don't think he has to go make a new ID.
Change his name. And I think he's just going to change his business name to Saul Goodman and practice law under Saul Goodman.
Yes.
But still sign all his legal forms as Jimmy McGill and all that.
No, he'll sign, like, if he changes his name, he changes his name. I don't think that's how, like, he gets his license back by going to school again under a new name, because you have to disclose former identities.
Joseph says, yes, changing names won't work. Kim will get caught for fraud on the Mesa Verde thing and go to prison for 5 years. Ooh, good one, Joseph.
Ooh, but what fraud did she commit?
On the 15% thing the
13%, right? But those are stamped documents put in. Like, that other chick would have to be like, I did it.
Maybe. Might go that direction. Who knows? Okay, so Jimmy's losing. Let's play some more of this. Joe, tell me if you want me to stop.
Let's see the cameras. Let's rewind the cameras.
But I knew my shit, right? What have you been doing during your suspension? And have you been keeping up with the law? Yada, yada. All fine. And then one of them out of nowhere comes up with this weird-ass question. What does the law mean to you?
That's a big one.
It's huge. And I nailed it. I talked about the meaning of the law, and I was down to earth, and I was humble, and I was sincere.
You think it's humble and sincere?
And they loved it.
Me too.
Yeah.
So they turned me down.
But here's the thing.
Joe,
it wasn't the truth. It wasn't sincere. Why did he become a lawyer?
Do you think he knows the reason at this point, or does he need Kim to tell him? Does he really not think? Does he have a block right now and not even thinking about Chuck?
He knows Chuck is the reason.
I know he knows at his core, but I'm saying right now in his immediate mind, is he blocking, or is he know and just not mentioning, like, fuck, I'm not going to give that motherfucker credit, or is he really not thinking about it? Is he really delusional? I guess that's the question. Is Jimmy delusional, or does he say, fuck, I'm not giving that bastard credit?
He's biting his nose off to spite his face.
Yeah, I think so too.
And he knows. That's why he is so upset right now in this scene, and he's throwing it Okay, he's got reason to be upset at the board, but he's putting it on Kim. He's got reason to be upset at himself, but he's putting it on Kim. Like, and he knows it was him who fucked up. That's what's pissing him off. He knew the minute he walked out. That's why he sat down. That's why he sat down in that hallway and waited, because he was like, something went wrong.
Yeah, I fucked it up.
Left.
I fucked it up.
Left.
I should go back in there. I should go back in there and say Chuck. I should go back in there. So actually, it's hard for me.
He should have. And yes,
it's hard for me to talk.
He was gonna.
It's hard for me to talk about this. I'm sorry. It's hard for me to talk about this, but I got to talk about my mom. She meant a lot to me. It's really difficult to mention her, but she made me the asshole I am, and I love who I am. Blah blah blah. That's what you got to do sometimes with that fucking person. You just have to suck fucking face and admit the truth that you became a lawyer because you looked up to your brother, and that's the truth. So I agree with you, Joe. He thinks he was genuine, or he wants to admit that, but he's lying to himself here. He's like delusional.
He
no, he's not
gave the
delusional.
college essay answer, right? That didn't talk about themselves. It was all the answers you think you want us to hear.
Yep.
Right? That's what he gave them. Like, he stopped in that hallway. He knew it. And that's why he turned around, and then he stopped again and sat down and decided to wait it out and see what happens. See if he was as good as he thought he was, rather than knowing as the confidence man that he is, he's a good one, knowing he had slipped, that he lost her, and he knew exactly who it was too.
Yeah, and he knew in the moment. He knew he lost it right when he laughed at the question too, but he lost it even more when he didn't mention Chuck.
Yep.
Well, there has to be more to it than
gone
that.
back in and said Chuck.
Yep.
There's not.
And that would have even hit bigger for them.
What did they say?
That would have made her go, absolutely, we'll give you your license back. If he had turned around and come back in and said, no.
Insincere.
Jimmy, what happened?
But yeah, I want to hear how she comes at the Chuck situation.
Not sold cell phones for a fucking year, I'll tell you that.
What did they say exactly?
Hard pass. And don't tell me I can appeal, because once the board hears the word insincere, I'm screwed.
Jimmy,
how do you disprove insincere?
Please. Jimmy, just take a breath and start from the beginning, please.
I was good.
You did this to me.
I mean,
yeah, this
I
is all you.
Stuck up,
this
but
is
I
all
knew my
you.
shit,
Exactly.
Right? What have you been doing during your suspension? And have you been keeping up with the law? Yada, yada. All fine. And then one of them out of nowhere comes up with this weird-ass question. What does the law mean to you?
That's a big one.
It's huge. And I nailed it. I talked about the meaning of the law, and I was down to earth, and I was humble, and I was sincere, and they loved it. So they turned me down.
Wait.
Well, there has to be more to it
Yeah,
than
there's
that.
more. There's more.
There's not.
No.
I don't. What did they say when you talked about Chuck?
What? And she says, as a matter of fact, what did she say? What did they say?
Because it was all about something involving him to begin with.
Did she not prep him for that? And I'm not blaming Kim at all on this. This is all on Jimmy. All on Jimmy. But if she prepped him for everything, they had to have talked about this, right?
Right. Yep.
Did she not mention this?
Exactly. Phil, that's a great point.
I don't want to
such
blame
a
her.
good point.
I'm not blaming her, but there is some element if she prepped him, which obviously she did because she gave him that story about the court where he had you mean case number blah 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 blah. That was obviously from Kim, and all this other stuff. She should have also reminded him.
Prepped him. Phil, that is such a good point. This was so important to the fucking both of them, to both their lives and happiness, right? Why? And they know how to prep someone who's going in to get grilled by lawyers.
But in fairness, Jimmy's reaction is probably no, I'm fine. I know what's going on.
And in fairness, what's Kim's reaction?
Make sure you mention Chuck. I know it's hard,
More
Jimmy.
than that. No, let's sit down. Let's have you stop at the Mushu Guy Pan store on the way
let's
home.
Role play
bring
this.
home some of that fucking good Chinese food.
And let's role play
this.
this.
Sit down, a couple. Right, dude. Let's role play.
Let's role play.
They're doing this. That such a great detail, Phil, that you picked up on, because that small detail flies in the face of everything else these two have done together. How they prepare for a lot of shit. Yeah, they've done a few improv cons, but you know that they prepared for that Lubbock, Texas shit, right?
But
they prepared for this. She. Good fucking point, Phil. Phil, You came up with a really good point of criticism for all those people that want to say you fucking blow Vince Gilligan's ass full of smoke. That is such a good point. And that actually, I didn't see it, but on rewatch, I hopefully would have caught that. And that is something that falls through the cracks and it slips through. And that's part of this scene.
Unless
that I told you the writing lacked it.
Unless she told him and he ignored it.
No,
let's listen to the rest of the scene.
We need to have seen that.
Let's listen to the rest of the scene.
Chuck have to do with this?
What does Chuck have? No, this seems like it's the first time they're talking about this.
Well, so you didn't even...
Why would I?
Okay. Okay, listen, we will figure this out.
So I mean, I get why she wouldn't have said anything, I guess, but it is an oversight that she should have. Him being who Kim was, maybe she's so busy that she didn't have an opportunity to go that deep in. But it's hard for me to imagine she wouldn't have.
Not for this. This is too important. This is the most important thing.
Paul says, let's see what the chat says. Paul says he was still in denial about Chuck, though. I partially blame her as a lawyer for not prepping. You're right, but it is somewhat of her fault. I got to go. DJ, have a great night. G. Ono says she knows that Jimmy's a smart guy and would use Chuck as a subject to get what he wants, but Jimmy can't talk about his brother. He just can't, so she was probably walking on eggshells with that situation. For what it's worth, Jimmy's right about the appeal prospects. Appellate bodies give nearly 100% deference to lower panels' findings, fact, including seniority. The oversight is her fault. Sorry.
What was the one before that last one? She knows Jimmy's a smart guy and would use Chuck's subject to get what he wants, but Jimmy can't talk about his brother. He just can't. So that's where you got to say, okay, they're walking on eggshells around him. I can't. This is too important for the both of us. This license is the most important thing in Jimmy's life right now. This is the most.
It's not as important to Kim
has ever felt.
Perhaps Kim is afraid. Really doesn't believe Jimmy should be a lawyer. She has a little bit of Chuck in her, and she did this to subconsciously.
No. Because she needs him to be a lawyer as well. Now, if this Chuck shit didn't happen, if Chuck didn't kill himself, right? She was gone. Dude, she was gone. That car accident, Chuck didn't die.
And she didn't get in that car accident. She
was gone.
She probably would have been gone at some point. And let's jump in the live chat. Oh, great to see. Just watched the first episode. Just watched the episode. The scene between Kim and Jimmy is probably my favorite of the season, maybe even the series. I love this scene. I especially love the second half that we're going to get to in a second. That is where we're at right now as we get towards the end of the episode. And if anyone wants to get any voicemails or text right now, 781-990-8509. We'll take all that stuff at the end of the show. And Bliss says, but that's like asking LeBron James, why didn't he tell J.R. Smith to keep track of the score at the end of the game? It's true. Sometimes it's on people from themselves. That's why I'm saying that ultimately, even though I'm saying that it is on Jimmy, but Kim.
It's not just on Jimmy. Right. Who represented Jimmy at the trial that he lost his license? Who represented Jimmy every step of the way through all of this? She's not just his girlfriend. She's his fucking lawyer.
And his partner.
Right? And his partner in a business of fucking lawyers, right?
Or not anymore. But I'm just mean
But it was supposed to go right back to that when he gets his license back. And guess what?
And Ono says maybe
she is not solely responsible. So I agree. But the point I'm bringing up is that it flies against both their characters. For what we know of them, how they prepare. Look at how they prepare for everything.
I agree with you about Kim, but with Jimmy, it makes sense to what we've seen with Jimmy this season that he wouldn't think about Chuck. He thinks exactly what he says.
No, he thought about Chuck.
But yeah, and he said, "Fuck it, I don't need to mention that asshole." And like you were saying from the very beginning, that it's spite, it's not delusion. He didn't block it. He said, fuck it. I'm not talking about him. And he's pissed off that this is the reason. He's thinking about this as one last fuck you from Chuck, and he transfers this shit right on to Kim.
And yes, you will appeal. We'll appeal this to them, but we won't let them, and we'll find a way to make you look sincere.
Kim, I was sincere.
I know that. I meant we will fix it.
I might have been a little corny, but I meant every word.
I know that.
Ooh, did you?
You don't believe me.
The eyes. Those eyes. I know what those eyes are. I know you well.
Of course I do. Jesus, it's right there on your face.
Time to
You
project
think
my
I'm some
feelings.
kind of lowlife, some kind of asshole. What kind of lawyer guilty people hire, right?
Oh, Jimmy, that's
You
not...
look at me and you see Slippin' Jimmy.
Here's Saul.
I never said that.
Hi, Saul.
You thought it.
Missed you.
You want to know why the committee called you insincere?
Yeah.
Because you didn't mention Chuck.
Yes.
What does that have to...
They've read the transcripts. They know.
Now, just to borrow a line from one of my favorite
They
movies.
read the transcripts. They know.
That's information that would have been helpful yesterday. Sorry.
Okay. So while this scene was, I take back what I said about the writing for this particular scene being off point, because I guess I heard certain lines and I started wandering because I heard them again and I thought my brain went right back to the thought pattern that it went to before.
Joe,
and I went to my own personal shit. Like,
you did what I did at the beginning of the episode in the Varner scene, where I was projecting bad shows on this show. You were expecting things to be a different way, but instead, this is a real life fucking fight.
Right. It has a logical progression in its movement.
It
flow.
feels real. It feels like a fight I've had.
By logical.
Yeah. It feels exactly, and not logical.
There's no logical.
If anyone's been in a long-term relationship, if anyone's been in a long-term relationship, they've had a fight like this. Or I'm not everybody. If someone's going to not me, but most people that have been in a relationship.
My wife.
We've never fought like this. Yeah, I don't fight like this ever with anybody.
Katie, you think I'm an asshole, don't you? I hear you over there with your eyes,
brother
face all over me.
I gotta keep it down. I can't.
Statement hearing. How is that sincere?
Katie,
I don't think about Chuck. Okay, I don't miss Chuck. Chuck was alive and now he's dead, and that's that.
Chuck.
Finito. Life goes on. So sue me. There it is again. And that's why we don't have an office.
What? No, just, do not start in on that office. I don't want to hear another word about that stupid office.
Stupid office. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Jimmy,
This is where
I have been on your
started
side
to be
since the day we met. Who comes running when you call? Who cleans up your messes?
But again, this is one of those things that when you start to get into a fight like this, you start arguing about the random it mutates into talking about, and then you left your shit on the wall, like you're talking about you left your dishes on the side of the sink again, you fucking asshole, because you hate me. It's stupid shit like that.
I have a job, but I drop everything for you. Every single time you confess to a felony on tape, I'm there. You have a bar hearing, I represent you. Over and over again. If you need me, I'm there. But somehow in your mind, the only measure of
to say Chuck
is some office?
I'm good enough to live with, to sleep with, but God forbid you should have an office with me.
What are you I just
you're
told
barely
you.
good enough to sleep with,
your
Bob.
life, so
Look
you
at
come
that hair.
down and roll around in the dirt. Have some fun with Slippin' Jimmy.
Oh, is it
so out of your fucking league, dude.
She really is. I love
barely good enough to sleep
I love Bob Odenkirk, but that's the most unbelievable thing on the show.
My law partner.
Oh, what a mistake it was to take me up to your office in the sky. You'll never do that again.
Yeah, maybe I won't. And maybe next time you call, I won't come.
There you go. Kick him in when he's down.
And next time we fuck, maybe I won't come too.
This is a horrible line. This sucks and this feels real too. When someone's dealing with someone who's always up and down and always is. You're always down. Like I can't have empathy for you because I can't care about you, or I can't feel like I can't give you shit all the time, any day of any week, because every single day of every week you're fucking down.
Jimmy, you are always down.
And that's it. That's the
It's
truth.
so it's the truth, but it's so real though, and that's what I'm saying with these arguments that they have in their whole interaction in relation to this season and watching them break up. Which is what it is, and it keeps coming in and out, but it's watching a breakup, similar to Carmela and Tony in season 4 of The Sopranos. It's just a season about a couple that are going in two different directions, and it manifests itself in different ways in both shows. I guess it's the second time I've compared this to The Sopranos. It's not a bad comparison to make, but in watching a breakup on the air.
Right. Yeah. Who? With what couple? With Tony and Carmela?
Carmela. Season 4 is basically all about them splitting, and it's their
right. But Carmela gets no motivation It's just she decides.
Let's not turn this into. Let's not turn into your forum to hate on Carmela Soprano here, which I know you want to.
That part,
Stop, Joe. Different podcast. Come on,
Falco.
Matt. Come on, Matt. Now, you're gonna have to take over for Matt when Matt moves to Vermont.
Edie Falco, man, that bitch. And that mother of his, and that fucking sister.
Okay, he had some bad women. Tony Soprano had some bad women in his life.
Hates women.
Hates
women.
Tony Soprano had some bad women in his life, but he's no prize. Janice is the worst.
No. He is no prize. Tony Soprano is a complete son of a bitch. He's a murderer. He's a bastard. He's a fucking philandering, fucking cocksucking, fucking bastard. Don't trust me. He's not a good person.
He's a fucking whore. Okay.
3 fucking women, not to mention his mistress with the fucking one leg.
How many people did he kill?
Those 2 women.
Yeah,
too?
he's cheated on his mistress with his mistress's sister at his uncle's. Yeah, whatever. Okay, let's enough talking about Tony Soprano. We could go on a whole fucking rant. Paul Q says you can take the kids, but you can leave me my monkey. I'm a bad guy for cheating, but you drank all the milk. I think Kim also assumed the board. I love it. I think Kim also assumed the board would bring Chuck up, so Jimmy would be forced to talk about him. Jimmy just can't be a lawyer without everyone talking about
cheating bitch, but you drank all the milk.
Jimmy can be a lawyer. Can't be a lawyer without anyone talking about Chuck. So I need to be top. Cannibal says, pro tip, pour the cereal down the drain. Don't just leave it in the sink. That turns disgusting. Lindsay says, not a bad comparison to the downfall of Walt and Skylar's relationship either. I'm a bad guy for cheating.
See, there's more. You see more motivation in that one, right? You see it just like with this one, as opposed to The Sopranos. I like this comparison better from Lindsay because you see it more. You see where Carmela was always knew where she was in who she was with. With Walter, Skylar was not with that man.
She was blindsided. I mean, she was cheating on him anyway, but she was blindsided.
Correct.
She was blindsided by the whole situation, and she handled it as well as she could handle it. But
and even with Slippin' Jimmy didn't show himself to Kim, right? Until after he gets his license, and they go out and they do that shit.
But he was always a little bit. I would say with Skylar though, she definitely, even though she came to a point where she couldn't deal with it, she never really fucked Walt over. She was always loyal to that. But anyways, so let's continue here with
aside from like the whole cheating.
Yeah, cheating. That's a different kind of loyal.
Right. Didn't send him to jail and be like, oh, there we go. Where's my other dude? Because the other dude was fucking embezzling too.
Kim played a lawyer on the TNT show Franklin and Bash. Was that the show with Zach Morris on it?
Zach Morris is trash.
Was that the Zach Morrison and Guy Patterson show? Was that?
It was Zach Morrison was on it, yes. And
was it Guy Patterson?
Guy Patterson, no. Guy Patterson, no.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I am Spartacus.
I am Spartacus. You know what I'm talking about.
It was a different kid.
No.
I can't tell you what else he was in, but no, it was a different kid.
Was it what's his name from
he was in
the Flash?
A movie with Rudy. No, he was in a movie. I believe he was in a movie with Rudy on like a ski mountain with like terrorists.
Ski mountain and a terrorist with Rudy.
Or not necessarily a ski mountain, but like in the mountains with terrorists.
Sorry, guys.
You got kids, or like at a school.
You guys are in the inside of Joe and I's shorthand right here.
Franklin and Bash. Who's the non Zach Morris trash kid? Who's Bash? Who's Franklin?
Who's Tango? Who's Cash? Okay, let me let me play the rest of this while we figure this out. Okay, so they talk about Chuck, and then Kim looks so angry. Let's go back to the. He's full on Saul mode as she heads out, and he takes his rage out over Chuck issues. Kim looks so angry and drinks a beer as we come back into the scene here. He walks in, and we already talked about this at the beginning. He goes right into the room, and she sits on the couch. The shot from both rooms is just a really awesome visual shot. There's not much to say here about the scene as she just goes, "Look at me, Jimmy. Look at me."
I messed it all up.
Breckenmeyer, says Joseph.
Breckenmeyer.
What else was he? Is he from? Is he the same guy that was that's in Santa Clarita Diet. No, that's not that guy, is it?
No. Don't tell mom the babysitter's dead. Dishes are done, man.
Oh, it's the dishes is done, man?
Or no. Adventures in Babysitting?
Oh, so it's that kid.
It's the Adventures in Babysitting kid? Is that who I'm
You still wanna be a lawyer?
IMDbing him right now.
Okay, do that. Sorry. We're sorry for the side.
Road trip. Okay. Freddy's dead. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, I know which guy it was. It was the stoner dude from Clueless.
Yeah.
Stoner dude from
He
Clueless.
was in Can't Hardly Wait.
Well, we can.
Yeah, he plays the stoner dude.
But that's got from Guy Patterson. It's the bass players in Can't Hardly Wait. There's your 6 degrees of Guy Patterson.
I got it. It all comes back to Guy fucking Patterson. So Kim looks angry.
Yes, he was in Clueless. Harrison from Clueless, yeah.
She is going to. Whoops, sorry. So
Travis from Clueless.
So Kim she's on to something. She has something in her mind. She wants to help Jimmy out. So then Mike heads into the Spy Shack one more time at the end of the situation. So not much else to say about the Jim and Kimmy situation. Jim and Kimmy. Jimmy and Kim situation that we haven't already talked about throughout this episode. She's going to try to get him his license back in this next episode. So Mike heads into the Spy Shack and he's like, what's going on? What's going on in there? What's going on in there?
Thanks.
He brings in coffee.
Thank you, sir. So, what do we got?
It's pretty quiet. Kai was up late again. About an hour after he went down, Werner came out for a couple of minutes. And Casper was up around 2:30.
I mean, do we really need to play the audio of this one? This was more of a visual aspect as Mike slowly but quickly, rapidly puts together the fact that one of the visuals on the camera is a fake shot or has been messed with a little bit. And they go in, they figure out that they've been Shawshanked, and Austin Kutcher comes out and goes, "You've been Shawshanked!" Oh, no, it wouldn't be. It would be Morgan Freeman. Joe, do your more... Andy Dufresne's been Shawshanked. I can't do
it. And that man must have crawled through 3 rivers of shit to get to his
wife.
Black rocks.
And his wife.
Couldn't have mind for no rivers of shit.
So they find out that the German escaped. They find a little tool that he spiked the voltage with, and the episode ends on Mike testing out the voltage, leading into the next episode that's going to be Mike hunts a German.
I'm with you, SM.
I think it's bullshit. He didn't win. I think drama around something will happen is just stupid to me. You better call Saul. We got Ian thrown in the live chat right now. He was
to me, there's no reason not to give him that win there.
Give who what win? Explain.
Saul.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I mean, it depends. I'm gonna wait and see. I'm gonna see what happens in next week's episode, how this direction goes. I love that there are 2 Shawshanks in this episode: the escape and the border parole. And here we go. So let's play a couple of voicemails and texts that we have. First off, oh shit, we got. Let's play. We got a couple J's going on. We got Big J's messages, and then we got SMJ's messages. So let's play SM's message first, and then get into our final Big J messages of the season. We got a couple. We got 2 big ones coming. So, we got a couple big ones coming from Big J, and here's the other J, SM down.
Remember last week when you were talking about, I think it was last week, when you were talking about that dude who hit somebody with some sandwiches who was like, who ended up being like an undercover cop, and like the lady like DA or assistant DA was kind of being a bitch and trying to get him to go away from that crime, and like Saul had this plan to to frame the cop for being drunk to get that guy off. Well, did that guy get off? Or did they actually go through with that plan? What did that lady lawyer do or whatever? or did they not show that this week?
No, that was dealing with the Huel case. Kim figured out a different direction around that a couple of episodes ago. She decided to take a different tactic, and she just used lawyering tricks and magic and pressure. And they did that whole campaign where they had Saul go on a bus, the last episode, to go to get all the people on the bus to write letters and mail them from a random town in Texas where Huel worked, or they lied and said this was all a lot part of the con, that Huel was a part of the community there and like a big donor at the church when there was a fire and saved people's lives and all this sort of shit. So and that's when Saul faked a voice and pretended to be the preacher there, and so they ended up not going further with that. But good question. Let's go to our first message from Big J.
Phil, Joe, what's up, my boys? Big J here. Second to last episode, and I thought it was an awesome episode like last week. You know, they're tying it in real nice. You know, we
I don't know.
find out where the bell came from. That dude Lalo, yeah, he's a creepy guy, man. You know, I like the scene when he's sitting down with Gus, and you know, you could just see like Gus looks at him like, what the fuck did you bring this dude here for? And he just throws his hands up, and I think Nacho's getting real fucking nervous, man. I think he's about to get whacked. They're gonna figure something out with him. This guy Lalo's very smart.
You can tell they're setting him up very smart, and that was one of my favorite parts of the episode too, Jay. That look where Nacho's is like, I can't fucking do shit about this motherfucker.
I was thinking of something today, and it was before the show even came on, and I was trying to think about like just how good this fucking show really is, and it comes down to the acting, man, and the difference. And I don't want to go into the debate about Breaking Bad and the fucking Better Call Saul debate, but you know, in Breaking Bad, Mike was just a fucking hitman. He had no personality. You know, this show breaks down people's personalities, you know. Yes. You see how Mike, you know, like he just gets so in depth with his character, man. His acting, you know, about who he really is. And, you know, it's just the difference. You know, it's a totally different fucking show. It's based on that show, but it's totally into these characters. But yet again, they tie it in real nice, you know. And that's why I like this show better, you know. And I just like this episode a lot. And you know, Jim.
What was that, Joe?
I was gonna say, like, it really, when this show finalizes, I'm probably gonna do I haven't done a rewatch of Breaking Bad. I've only seen the series once, and not since it finished. So that's a good. He makes a really good point in comparison there about how the two shows are done, and I really think it'd be interesting to watch burn through of this and then Breaking Bad immediately afterwards.
Yeah.
Rather than like when this is over, going back and watching Breaking Bad and then rewatching this. No, when this is over, rewatch this and then go right into Breaking Bad from this and really get a feel of how different the two are. I think that would be an interesting way to watch it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, how do you watch the Star Wars movies, man? 4, 5, 6,
I was just about to talk about the Star. It's what they wish they. It's what they wish they could do with those movies, but they're not as good. But I agree too that it's a completely different show. I often have said this before. It's a cook at a restaurant that makes an amazing signature dish and also has a fucking second thing on the menu that's just as fucking tasty. It's just a different meal that tastes a little different. It's cooked by the same people, put together in the same way, presented in the same way, but it's just different. And listening to them talk and being obsessed with
the veal marsala, do I have the veal parmesan?
Exactly.
What the fuck do I do?
And they know it, and they know that they're doing. The people working, the people that have worked on both shows, the writers and the directors that come in to work on these shows, they know that they have more time and more. and more room to explore characters. That's why they have fun working on this show. It gets to do something not a lot of shows get the luxury of doing, because the main narrative of the series has already been told. So this is all for funsies in some ways, and all for just exploration and character moments and acting and all that sort of shit. It's a very unique show like that. And I fucking love it too. It's one of my favorite shows I've ever seen, and we're not even finished with it yet. And I think it's the ending of this one. I know people like SMJ care, and he's not the only one. I'm just using this because I know he's mentioned this before. The end game matters. But with this show, I don't think the end game matters to me, except for in the future, which is actually the end game of Breaking Bad, too. It's the end game of that universe, because Saul's the only one left, with Jesse out there, too, somewhere. So I want to know what's happening in the future of the Breaking Bad storyline. I think that's what you can get in the end.
Hank's out there.
Hank's dead, dude. Ozymandias, baby.
Oh, right. No. I meant, oh, yeah. Right.
Skylar and her sister are out there. Walt Jr.'s out there. The kid's out there. But Jesse and Saul are alive. And don't give me that, you Walter White lifers. Shut the fuck up. Jesse and Saul are alive. And the only way we're going to see more of them, if this is the last series, is in the black and white Gene stuff. And that's the stuff I'm most excited for. As
Saul hiding, man. His face getting broadcast on TV and billboards, left and right. Yeah, I don't expect to see him at Cinnabon.
That's why he's looking over his shoulder at every second of every day. And I hope next week we get another Gene, but we might not see Gene until this series finale, but until the final season. But I really do hope we get some more Gene. Good morning, Brainwash. Great to see you. I said it before, I'll say it again. Breaking Bad excels at narrative. Better Call Saul excels at character study. Lindsay cannot keep saying that because it's extremely perfectly said. Bliss says, well said. Both great shows. I think this season might be the best of Better Call Saul, at least so far. It's slightly more fast-paced than the previous seasons. I agree. I think each season of Better Call Saul gets progressively better. I think 2 and 3 are pretty equal, and I think this is a little step above as well. But it's still on par with the previous 2 seasons. Let's go.
He fucked up. I knew when they said, who's your influence that made you become a lawyer, when he didn't go to Chuck. And
then Cranston can go eat a dick, because Cranston's a fucking bullshit artist. He'll lie. So if
he just wants to make more fucking money.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
Yes, I'm alive. Let's make more movies.
No, not Cranston.
I turned state informant. They got to me just in time.
He did Total Recall. He made his fucking ridiculous bank. He's done his shitty shit.
That movie fucking tanked.
Yeah, but he already got paid.
It was over, because you could see right then they had it in the bag, And I don't know, I just had a fucked up day today. I meant to call you guys earlier, and I enjoyed the show, but it's just been like a fucked up day. And
fuck.
Some personal shit going on, but I did get to watch it, and I'm gonna watch it again tomorrow. I thought Kim's fucking acting was awesome too. It was just great acting tonight, and I've been where Jimmy's at, where you think you're gonna get something out of here, and I've sat with 3 other people. Nothing to do. Obviously, I'm not a fucking lawyer. That'd be funny, right? But I've been there where he's at, and it's very intimidating sitting against 3 people. For me, it was something to do with a pension here, and I was going out on disability, and these 3 scum.
Oh, he got cut off, but we'll get the rest of Jay's story in a second. He did leave another message. Jesse got BoJack Horseman. He ended up being the dude sleeping on the couch. Do we get a Gene scene in episode 10? That's a good question, Jeffrey. That's kind of what I'm hoping for, but I thought last year we were going to get one, and we ended up not. We were lucky with an extended Gene scene in this past season at the beginning. I'm not sure if they're going to do it. If they're going to do it, it's going to be in the cold open. And I would not be surprised, because I do think the last couple of cold opens have been in the now time, whereas for a while they were doing ones in past times or in future times. So I think this last one will probably be in some other time period of some sort. So it's going to be fun to see, but who knows? I honestly not sure what to expect from this season finale, and I don't mean that in a a bad way. I just mean I'm strapped in for anything's possible. Mike could brutally kill the German, or he could let him get away. Jesse Pinkman could show up. I don't know. I mean, he's not going to show up, but I'm just saying anything could happen, and I wouldn't be surprised with this show. There's been several suggestions about how Walt could have survived that wounds. I've heard a lot of those. We never see Walt die. He's in a jail cell somewhere. I've read a lot of those Walt living conspiracy television theories, and I'm not buying it. From what I've heard,
he was always meant to die.
And just from what those guys talk about hijinks like that on shows, I've heard them address that in the Better Call Saul Insiders podcast and the Breaking Bad podcast, and
they think it's trash.
They have a name for it. They call it something. They have like a term that they refer to it. We call that bulljacking or whatever. I'm bulljacking. I'm just whatever they call it. They have a term that they call it. They're like, that's hacky bullshit, basically.
It is, and like. Dude, it was like Heroes season 1. I was like, oh, this was great. Episode 1, season 2.
Should have ended. They should have ended with. It's bringing Skylar back. If season 1 of Heroes had ended right, Skylar, right when Hero. Spoiler alert. Sorry, everybody. Heroes is old. I'm spoiling it. If you want to go, give me 30 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But right when Hero, because he dies, but he comes back, so it's not really a spoiler. Sorry. But what I mean is, I do think there's a good poetry to the way that season 1 of Heroes works, so I don't want to ruin it for anyone that wants to see it. When Hero stabs him through the heart, the season should have ended right there and be done with Heroes. 1 season, that's it. Over. And then go click over to the Clear scene that you get at the end of the entire series, where she climbs up to the top of a tower and jumps off and outs themselves to all the to the world. And then you end it, and then you can do one-off miniseries movies and spin off on it if you want. But the main prime series is 1 season of Heroes. Then Heroes is something that 1 season is great. I mean, maybe it doesn't hold up. I haven't watched it in a while, but at least when I was watching it at the time, that first season I was highly engaged in.
Yep.
Did Jesse introduce Saul to Walt? He mentioned him. And I believe Jesse does say that Saul got his buddy off a couple times. My buddy used Saul a couple times. He's really good. So next season would be the logical time.
Sending the ball to Nebraska. The vacuum.
Maybe.
Yeah, I was leaving that message before I got cut off. But what I was saying is
Sorry, next series, Mike chasing the Germans across the country, the fugitive German style.
I got fucking hearing one time, and it's very intimidating when you're there with 3 other people. But Jimmy pulled it off good, man. But, like he fucked
it's
up.
All good,
man. And, I just want to say I'm having a really fucked up day, but watching fucking Joe and you getting drunk really cheered me up, and that's why Big J loves you guys. And
Katie,
that fucking tequila, man, I'll be dying for a shot right now. I'm on some fucking
Katie?
Heavy pain medication right now.
Oh, dude, Jay, we hope you're doing all right, buddy. Thank you for tuning on in. Lots of love. I'm gonna play the rest of your message, but we're gonna send a toast to Jay.
We got a toast to Jay.
I'm flying that way, But I had a couple beers today, and
Big Jay's having a bad day, so we're gonna
fucking tequila.
And watching Phil and I drink.
I really enjoy watching Joey fucking drink that fucking tequila, man, and just sitting there with his fucking dirty beard and, his fucking sexy wife in the background, Fucking guys you gotta mate, Joe. You gotta fucking mate, pal. All right, one more episode to go. You guys are the fucking best.
Lots of love to Big J. And lots of love to the motherfucking chat, and to Joe, and to Katie over there taking shots as well, and to all our super chatters tonight. You guys are awesome. Let's jump in the live chat a little bit. Lindsay says, I'd love to see Gene in those. I'd love to see Gene in those Jesse flashbacks. I'd love to see Jesse in those Gene flash forwards. But what business would Jesse have being in Nebraska? Like, if you bring him in that storyline without coming out with plot convenience, there would be no way of putting him in the storyline. I've always contested that if there's only one way to see Jesse Pinkman, and that's in the natural accordance of when Saul becomes Saul Goodman. And
nah, dude, Jesse's just traveling, man, and he's going through fucking Cinnabon.
And he drives. He goes through a drive-through of a Cinnabon and just happens to drive through because he's just been driving the whole time. He ends up in Nebraska. But realistically,
what if Vacuum Dude is just sending everybody to Nebraska?
That would be interesting. But
Fuck them.
But Jesse's
I
not
got
with
my money.
But
I don't
Jesse
care if they die.
Jesse doesn't. Jesse gave up his money and he doesn't care about Vacuum Dude. Jesse's got a car and he's just driving. Jesse's not thinking straight. Jesse's not going to Vacuum Dude. He already gave up. Vacuum Dude would only come once and he left. So Jesse fucked that up. Jesse's on his fucking own. But if we really see Jesse, it's in the Saul timeline. Yeah, Jesse went to go in the movie Drive. That's where his character went. That's the continuation of Jesse. And then eventually to BoJack Horseman to sleep on BoJack's couch. And if we see Jesse, I think it's going to be in the back of a court. It's going to be a glorified cameo where Saul is helping one of his friends out and getting him off on a case as Saul Goodman towards the end of the series. And you hear from the back of the courtroom, "Yeah, bitch, you got him off." Something like that. Like a hardcore "yeah, bitch" or something, or you pass him on the street, or Jesse's with his buddy to interview the lawyer
deal.
or on a drug
He ends up in front of Nacho selling drugs.
Nacho selling drugs. Yes, it might be with Nacho. It might be with Nacho as well, or might be with the.
Was he ever like on the level of the guy that would be paying a bundle? No. We would have to see Jesse in a cameo. We also know that Jesse in his prime rave days, though, before he was
played in a band.
full-on addict.
He played in a band. He played drums in a gigging band. It doesn't get talked about often on Breaking Bad, but Jesse played in the area in a gigging band. So we could go into a club that has Jesse playing drums in a band. And that could handle the old thing too, because he's behind a kit and you could have him with a hat on playing a drum set or something. That's how you're going to have a Jesse cameo, because his band's out there and we could actually see his band for the first time. We've heard of them. We saw his drum set. We know he had a band that played out. People had mentioned it on Breaking Bad a couple times. We never saw the band, and it would be gigging out around the time of Better Call Saul. So maybe we might see it that way. I hope they show a laser tag place in Better Call Saul at some point. I hope there's some backstory and all of that shit. I think most shows I loved sucked or were worse in the last season than other seasons, which is really cool about Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, because they seem to go out at the right time. They know the moment. That's why I think next season of Better Call Saul is going to be the last one.
They have a plan. They have an outline. They have a story they want to. See, that's the thing. Most TV is made. It's not a story we want to tell. It's a show we want to give you, right? Or it's products we want to sell. With these specifically, and I would say the first 5 seasons of Game of Thrones, it's a specific story, a beginning, a middle, and an end, right?
And I think you mean 4.
What's that?
No, nothing. I think you mean 4, but.
Well, yeah, but.
No, you're
being anyway. Yeah. That show.
You fucker. Sorry. I'm looking for. I had a message I was supposed to play, or I was going to read. Oh, here we go. So I have 2 more things for us here, Joe, and then I will let you go, as I know it's nearing your bedtime here.
We got a J voicemail too, don't we?
No, we played that at the beginning. But here we go. This
SMJ?
Yeah, we did. He was asking me a question about last week. So here we got a text message here from area code 408. What up, Phil? Regarding Varner, I had so much faith that he wouldn't try to escape. When he was looking at the cameras and eventually walked into his cabin, I said, "Yep."
You knew it.
I said, "Yep, he's not that dumb to escape, Mike." It's Mike's top secret lair. However, now I feel like he's putting the other guys in danger, because if Varner escapes, the work has become loose ends and proof. But who the fuck knows? Vince is always 10 steps ahead of predictions. Good show as always. Have a good night. And yes, I think the rest of the German, he's sealed the rest of the German's fate, especially if he gets away. If they somehow catch him, and kill him. Maybe they'll let the other Germans live and finish the job, or perhaps they'll outsource at this point because the dynamite was the hardest part, and they could probably get other people to do the job from this point on. But anyways, we also got a couple of these are longer messages from Chris that I never got a chance to read on the show, but now that we have Joe here, I'm going to read it. A little note about Better Call Saul. I'm writing from New Zealand. This was from the earlier part of the season. One thing I never heard discussing is how do you even start to write a show after they already triumphed in the way Breaking Bad did? This must have been asked right from the beginning of the writer's room process on the first morning. How do you make a show with a big brother Breaking Bad constantly hovering over you? Answer, create a big brother in a dramatic terms that have the antagonize the heck out of each other as kind of a supplemented play of questions. So we have Chuck and Jimmy, a kind of Cain and Abel. Slowly, Jimmy gets the upper hand over Chuck. Slowly, his shadow stops hovering over Jimmy. What a great way to keep them honest and discovering their way through work to ensure that they don't get sidetracked and end up doing an inferior job. I think by the end
that's a nice I like that is that a simile I get or a metaphor? I don't know.
Is it as
he compares the Breaking Bad to the bigger brother, and everybody's got the question, and even Big J says it in his voicemail. I'm not going to get into the debate, right?
Yeah,
that's the big shadow looming over the little brother Better Call Saul's head, right? And then it sets this up. We get right from boom. We know right from the beginning, Chuck is a big brother overshadowing Saul.
We know
Saul,
the situation.
The younger brother.
I don't know if they even cared. I've heard them talk about the show, but not mention it too far in depth, only to say that they're fans of it. That I don't. It reminds me a lot in a completely different way. We've mentioned it 1,000 times here. Is Frasier? It's that Cheers was this entity. People can overlook. Oh, yeah. People can easily overlook how big Cheers was in the 80s. It was fucking huge. Towards the
Frasier was also Cheers.
At the end,
still they get that little brother in there.
Right at the end of the run, Cheers started off slow, but I mean by the end of Cheers' run, it was fucking huge.
It was yeah.
And then Frasier came out and just said from the very beginning, this is about a father and son and a brother family, small unit dynamic. This is a completely different fucking thing, and it made its own identity while still having the same level of quality go to the sitcom level writing that was going on at the time. And some could say excel it. Some could say not, depending on where you stand on that argument. That isn't really an argument. Both shows fucking rock. And in different ways. And are polished in different ways. I think
Phil, you gotta decide: is it Frasier,
Cheers,
or is it Breaking Bad?
For me, it's both parent shows. It's hard for me, but as of right now, I feel like that's saying I don't like Better Call Saul as much, but it's.
I like Better Call Saul more. I actually do.
And you're not the only one. Stephanie likes it better too. Big J does as well. I think some people that listen to our show as well do as well too. I'm going to make that decision afterwards, doing what you said. Watching both shows after the fact, back to back, and making that decision.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. I've seen Breaking Bad a few more times than you, but it's still been a fucking long fucking time. So let's finish this comment here. I think by the end of season 3, they had found a family of storytellers, the more subtle art of it, and confidently say they had a better storytelling chops. So at this point, Chuck is killed off. The big brother no longer has a direct antagonistic power over Jimmy, and Saul can break free.
It's its own thing.
The dynamic of Chuck and Jimmy is exactly the dynamic of the question, I think. They need to improve is also alluded in the title, Better Call Saul. I think they're such a bold and beautiful storytellers. Thanks again for your work. I hope the second half of the season is awesome. So comparison, this is Chris Reddington from New Zealand. So lots of love to Chris. I was supposed to read this like weeks ago. He's got another comment as well that I'm going to read here.
I like that. I like that comparison. I like that. That is very nice. That's a good job.
This was I told him I was going to read it on the air, and he said, great to hear from you. I live in the backwater of the world, so it's a nice surprise for me today. I'm honored that you read my email in your show, which I was supposed to do after episode 5, but I'm finally doing it now, so hopefully you're still with us, buddy. So let me know in the comments or send me an email to make sure I know you read this, and then send me an email for the finale as well. The subtleties
I really like that. I didn't even think about that. I really like that. That's
and
good.
Here we go. The subtleties of the writing on Better Call Saul are deep and wide. Oh, you want to hear what else is deep and wide? No. I wasn't suggesting that the only reason Chuck exists was to program a certain creative question about following another hugely successful creative work. Just that there is much more resonance in the dynamics between the two brothers, with the internal need to have a good fiery furnace at the heart of another full series. How do we improve and keep improving? How do we stay creatively potent and keep discovering? How do we never get complacent? Wow, he's smarter than I can talk. Brotherly love and brotherly antagonism. Like you, I also believe the fifth is the last series. They use the Greek model of 5 acts. Number 1, protagonist has a dilemma. Number 2, dilemma deepens. Number 3, protagonist face extreme resistance. Number 4, the protagonist goes to trial. Number 5, the denouement. Also, yes, Kim will leave this season. Actually, my growing theory is that she's going to go to jail. She will get, and a couple people have said this as well, she will get involved in a huge scam when she went dreamy-eyed with those models. And Jimmy will punk out and drop on her. I'm not sure if that will go on. The dramatic poetry is that they'll both trade underground this season, but only Jimmy can handle it due to his instincts to survival and personal denial, separating his morality as Saul. The profoundly simple logo with M above the line and the W below the line binds them and separates them in a number of beautiful and tragic ways. Saul is a state of human denial, but I think they will meet up as Gene and Kim next season and reconcile their pain. A few extra thoughts, probably bogus, but I'll tune in, motherfuckers. Take care. So that is Chad Reddington. Thank you so much. You get our motherfucker of the award. I'm going to give you one more fucking drink.
You get our motherfucker award.
The motherfucker of the night award, I was supposed to say, but it didn't happen. He-Man was made to sell toys, and that was awesome, too. Saul Goodman will make amends with Jesse and Skylar at the end of the series. Nebraska, yo, I left you one more message. So I'm going to take one more drink, and we'll leave off on Jay's last messages here. So here we go. Let's play this.
Come to think about it, I'm starting to think it's even more Kim's fault, because not only is she Jimmy's lawyer, she's Jimmy's partner as a con artist, and Jimmy's like partner as like a girlfriend or like a life partner or whatever. Okay? So basically, if she did not prep him and figure out that...
I'm going to play the rest of Jay's message here. We're going to let Jay
I got to say, there's something wrong with the universe. Jay and I have been like on point together.
The Walking Dead's coming. The Walking Dead's coming soon, Joe. If you're ever going to make it to an episode of The Walking Dead.
All season, we have been on point with each other.
Jeffrey Townsend, I wanted to say in the live chat before it swung by, but and we'll get back to Jesse's message. Saul Goodman will make amends with Jesse and Skylar. No, I left you another message. So we know that currently in summer 2004, and Saul was hired on Breaking Bad in 2008. How will they bridge the gap? Well, they did go in a year in a second here. There was another message I wanted to read, but I lost it. Fuckers.
Which one? The laser tag?
No. I saw it somewhere.
Hannibal deleted it.
You fucking dirty bastard. You dirty.
I see it right there. You read it, and then Hannibal O'Neill took it away.
He's such a bastard. That Hannibal. Fucking mad.
He was gonna read your message, Hannibal. You ruined it for yourself.
Man, he ruined it for me. He ruined it for me because Hannibal always writes a good message. Cheers. Hannibal says cheers, motherfucker. I think most shows. Okay, so let's play the rest of Jay's message. Sorry, Jay. I cut you off when Joe's agreeing with you.
He wasn't going to say anything about Chuck, because of how he feels about him. First of all, she didn't figure that out. She doesn't know him as either of those three things I mentioned: as a lawyer, as a girlfriend, as a boyfriend, or as him with as a partner, con artist or whatever. Okay, all of those things would require you to.
He-Man was awesome. And Jay, again, I'm going to play the rest of your message. Jeffrey Townsend, can't see Kim being gone after the season. I agree, and I think just to be fair to the emailer, that message was written, both those emails were written after episode 5. And at episode 5, I could still see a scenario where Kim's leaving after the season. At this point, with one episode left, I can't see next week being Kim's last episode. I tend to agree with what Joe was saying earlier, that episode 2 or 3 of next season will be the end of the Kim storyline.
To pick up
Or not the end, and then we might see her again in the Gene timeline because of that shit he got out of the wall could be for Kim.
Things and pay attention to things. So she didn't take up on that. That is completely her fault, okay? Because she is too oblivious or too stupid or too something to not figure out how to do it. And don't give me, she couldn't bring it up. She, like, as all three of those things, she should have figured out how to bring it up. She should have either gone, like, some tough route and just said, hey, look, if you don't do this, you won't fucking get your goddamn thing back. Or she should have conned him into it, like, finagled it somehow. She should have just been straight up honest. Whatever route it would have taken, she should have been able to figure it out. And her not figuring it out makes it her fault, okay?
So yeah, it's a Jay and Joe. It's like the JJ pair.
Yeah, they should have prepped. They should have grilled and prepped and questions, 100 of questions. Answer this one over and over and over and over again.
So Joe,
like flashcards of 100 questions, and I'm just gonna keep randomly asking you, and you fucking keep.
So, Joe, next week, you're not going to be with us for the Better Call Saul finale or the Walking Dead premiere because you're going to have to work on both occasions. So, we will do a What Did Joe Think sometime next week. When are you done with your work thing? Wednesday, maybe? Wednesday or Thursday?
Wednesday morning.
So, Wednesday morning or Thursday morning. I have some house shit going on one of those 2 days. We'll figure out what day works, and we'll do a What Did Joe Think about the Walking Dead premiere and what he thought about the Better Call Saul season finale. Also, we keep threatening to do it, but at some point we are going to talk about Ozarks or do a Netflix roundup where we talk about a couple shows that we're catching up, that maybe some that I've watched that Joe hasn't watched and some that we've watched together. Also, I mentioned it earlier, sometime in October, probably the last big podcast besides the Walking Dead stuff that's going to be done in here before I move out in November. We got to figure out the right day to do this, but Marvel's Daredevil is coming back, and we've often thought about maybe getting together for a day and binging it and doing a full watch podcast sort of adventure. So this might be the time, Joe, or at least do it like we did with Jessica Jones, where we watched 3 episodes over a couple of day period of time, and hold ourselves to binging. I still
want to do the one watch talk.
Right. Okay, so this is what we were thinking about doing. We're thinking about having a day, probably maybe not the day it comes out. We'll have to figure out the convenient day with Joe's work and me and Stephanie's availability and all that sort of shit too. What we want to do is have a day where we binge watch the entire series, but we're not going to be live broadcasting it. What we're going to be doing is watching an episode, then coming in and recording a podcast or doing, I think recording something, probably recording our immediate thoughts. And then when we get to the last episode, or are we going live? We have to figure
I thought it was live, but either way.
Okay, we might go live. Maybe we'll do it.
If we record it, it means you have to edit and shit after.
Yeah, okay, we'll probably go live. You'll probably
either
go
way.
live.
We're not doing multiple takes.
It's
so.
true. That's true. There's none of that shit. Either way, it's live. So most likely we'll go live or something, and maybe we'll even do some of them from the phone. We'll change things up.
And if we go live, that affords everybody out there the opportunity to then go plop on your couch and watch the episode while we're watching it.
So, and we're going to do this, and we're going
to do it over an 11 hours. Boom, done.
And
one day.
The podcasts are going to be very short. We're going to set a time clock. They're going to be like 25-minute casts.
25, yeah.
50, maybe we're going to try to do it in less. It's going to be like 25 minutes or less podcast. Maybe even less. We should probably stick to 15 minutes.
Let's try. We'll set a time. We'll even set a timer.
We're going to set a 15-minute timer that the broadcast is going to shut off in 15 minutes. We can do that.
Well, we'll figure something out.
We'll do it. We'll figure something out. We got to figure out the logistics, but we are going to do that for Daredevil. We're going to figure that out. It's going to be one day. We're going to do it. A lot of them might be phone streams that we're doing by the end that we don't want to come in the other room, and we're just like, yeah, let's just put on the phone. Hey, this is what we thought of this episode. I mean,
it's going to be a long day.
Most likely, most of them will be that. Hey, we're going to do those. We're going to do selfie sticks from the couch. So, but that's coming in. It's going to happen. I can't believe I'm actually going to watch the Walking Dead season premiere. I can't believe Joe's not going to be here for it. It's going to be, he's so happy. Yeah, this is another one of those situations where
This does not make me happy.
I'm convinced he asked to work. So
I did not ask to work.
No.
I'll photocopy the paper.
No, you don't have to photocopy.
I'll bring it.
I know you are. I know you're gonna. We'll share that. We'll share Jay's paperwork on the show next week. But everybody, I'll be back next week to talk Better Call Saul series finale or series 4 finale, and I'll be alone to talk the Walking Dead premiere. David will be joining us after episode 2, but I will touch base with David and see if maybe he can join on me for episode 1 as well to play fill-in host for Joe, and then get Joe back for episode 3. And also Joe and I will be doing a What Did Joe Think next week after Better Call Saul and The Walking Dead, probably on Wednesday or Thursday. And I'm also trying to get live one day this week to talk about a Game of Thrones art show that's being put together that were nice enough to send me some materials to babble about that. So I'm looking forward to talking about that as well too. So we're amping things up a little bit, but honestly, between now and the end of November until I'm in the new studio place, I'm so antsy that it's tough to get too much traction as we're starting to pack up everything for the move. But things might be moving to the phone a little bit more for the temporary solution once things start getting packed up. But you guys been awesome, and Joe, thank you for joining me tonight.
No, thanks for having me.
We'll talk to you guys next time.